I know I'm deserving. People tell me I'm deserving. Everyone's like, how did this happen? Everyone's like, how are you not getting picked up right now? But that's just like talk from the people. Like, that's like the riders and everything. That's not the industry people who make decisions. So how can I get in their brains and like show that I'm more than just a contest kid?
On today's episode of the Grab Matters podcast, today we sit down with Canadian wakeboarder Riley Dillon. We talk with him about growing up in Canada, getting started on two tower systems, as well as his snowboard background and upbringing, his relationship with other wakeboarders and snowboarders like Liam Brearley and a bunch of the Outhouse crew guys. We also talk with him about his most recent edit, Free Agent, kind of what that means, why he titled it Free Agent, and his current journey in wakeboarding regarding sponsorship. As always, I want to thank the Patreon members. Your help and support really keeps this podcast going, and it means a ton. Without further ado, enjoy this episode with Riley Dillon.
I approve waterboarding. They're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside.
Air railies.
A new dimension.
And we're back. Another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. Today we welcome on a very special guest, Riley Dillon.
Why, thank you, sir.
How's it going?
Oh, man, I'm good. How are you now?
I'm doing great.
Yeah?
I'm doing great today.
I was going to see if you picked up a little Letterkenny reference there.
No, I watched a little bit of Letterkenny, but I haven't like fully watched
fully
a lot.
indulged.
So
Yeah.
I was a Trailer Park Boys guy.
Oh, I think you've mentioned that to me before,
Yep.
actually.
Yeah. So
See, I'm lacking in the Trailer Park Boys territory. I haven't gone down that road yet. I've seen a couple episodes here and there with friends, but no, never.
the early seasons they're really good.
Worth the watch, eh?
They're worth the watch. They're ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous show.
That's amazing, dude.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the characters are unreal. I'll go give it that.
Yeah, they are. I'd say we start off with a few quick questions before you get in the early days of Riley Dillon.
Absolutely, dude. Hit me.
Favorite grab?
Favorite grab. Obviously, this is one I've thought about because you ask everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So, I gotta say, I think it has been said, but Crail.
Okay.
Crail, dude. There's something about Crail. I don't know, especially if you probably heel side over toe side. I would
Were you
say.
shifty into it, kind of?
You kind of shifty into it, kind of like a bat wing, I guess. But you grab Crail. But honestly, you add it to any trick, and it just makes it feel so much better. I don't know. You kind of, especially if you flip too. I feel like you flip on like such a different axis in a sense because you're kind of twisting your body. I don't know. I've always really liked that one. Learned that one back on the snowboard days, and remember bringing it to the wakeboard. And some of my favorite photos were with that grab. So probably Crail, man.
Makes for some good photos if you get the grab and the tweak right. Because I was watching some of your clips, and we'll get into some videos later. But
For sure.
You've got some good flippy Crail type situations where
Thank you, sir.
A little back mo with a Crail, So
Yeah, tried to done a few things with it. Well, it's kind of one of those, because I liked it so much, I've tried to incorporate it into everything I can. Do it switch and regular, like left and right hand. Then you talk about coming in switch, then it becomes a seatbelt. So you can do a lot of stuff with it. So I've enjoyed that grab.
But that
for sure.
spot of the board, you're a big fan of.
That spot of the board, man. Something cross body.
Okay.
Cross body feels cool, and I like when other people do it too. Like,
So it's just not your grab.
no, it's not mine.
Other
Dude.
people can do
Lots
it.
of people. Oh, everyone can do it, man. I hope everyone grabs Crail, dude. It's good stuff. But yeah, I've been seeing. You got like Enzo and Pedro and Trent all got really good Crail variations. Like Pedro and Enzo with the front rolls, like Tootsies to blind with Crail. Like, I don't know. I get hyped to do it. I get hyped to watch it.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. I like Crail too. It's good. It's a good answer.
Hey, thanks, man.
I'm not gonna say I'm not surprised because I did see quite a few Crails from you, but
Yeah.
wake pants, yes or no?
That's another one I've thought about. They have grown on me, I will say. They will grow, especially because, I'm a snowboarder at heart. So, like, having some pants, I don't know. It's weird. It's funny because when I think about it in my head, I'm like, they don't make sense in the water.
Yeah.
Like, they don't.
Logistically, yeah.
Logistically, it just doesn't make sense. They're heavy. They hold the water. Ideally, it's warm when we're wakeboarding. So, I mean, I'm Canadian, so it comes in handy.
Yeah.
But I would say, yes, wake pants.
Yes, wake pants.
Yes, wake pants.
So we took some sets today. Well, you took one set. I took a couple sets today at ODub.
Yep.
I didn't see any wake pants on your lower half. So what was up with that?
I was wearing wake pants.
You were wearing wake pants?
I was.
Oh, okay.
I was.
Well, shame on me then.
Yeah, dude, you didn't catch it.
Did you take them off at any point?
No, I was rocking them because
wow.
I had my shorty on today, Right?
Oh, no, because when I pulled up, you had your full suit on.
Yeah.
And then, but you didn't have any wake pants on at that time.
Exactly.
But then you put the shoe. Okay.
Yeah, because I pulled up and I had the fully on.
Yeah.
And you were telling me the fully was not
It
the
was
shout.
not the
It
move,
was not the
dude.
shout.
It was not the move today.
I felt like such an idiot. All the locals roll up and see a couple people that I don't know. So maybe they're more beginners or maybe I just don't know them and they're all
Florida
rocking.
natives are cold.
Florida natives, they're cold. They're rocking 4.3s. And I got into a talk with this one guy and he was like, oh man, it's freezing out there. And I'm in the car and I have like the bottom half of my 3.2 on and I'm sweating.
Yeah.
Like already sweating. And I was like, well, he's saying it's cold. He's saying the water's cold. But then little Preston rolls up and he's got a shorty on and he's like, oh yeah, the water's not bad.
Yeah, it really wasn't. Yeah.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
It was 70. It wasn't like sunny, but it wasn't windy. So
No,
it was a great day.
It's a good day. It
was a great day to have a day.
I'm thankful for this Floridian weather, baby.
All right, well, we're in Canada.
Definitely.
Speaking of Canada, let's talk early days. Where are you from?
I'm from Newmarket, Ontario. It's I guess not really small. It's hard to quantify, but in the area I'm from. So I'm in the Greater Toronto area. We also call that the GTA. So I'm near Toronto, but I'm not in Toronto. So Newmarket's about 80,000 people.
I'd say that's pretty big.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
But in that area, it feels like one of the smaller towns, I guess. It's not rural, but we're still like suburbia. But I grew up in Newmarket, Ontario. Was born just outside of there, but we moved there when I was 3. And my parents still have that house. So pretty much born and raised.
Okay.
But I was born like half an hour from there. Still don't even actually fully understand why I was born at the hospital I was at. It was in Barrie, which is like half an hour from me. And I don't even think they were living there at the time. So, but anyway, we moved to Newmarket when I was 3. And I've grown up there ever since.
So how far from Toronto is that if you were to drive?
Well, I mean, we talked about Orlando traffic today.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of the Orlando traffic at home too. Toronto can get busy. So it depends on the time of day. But I would say like downtown to the city core would be like anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on where you're going.
Okay, not bad though.
No,
you
like
probably
not
went there
bad.
often, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've grown, like, I'm not a Toronto kid. Like I'm not like a city kid. But I definitely spent a lot of time going to Toronto to skate or to concerts or as I got older to hang out with friends.
Okay. So speaking of skating, growing up, what sports did you do growing up?
Man, I did just about everything under the sun. I'm super blessed for the opportunities my parents gave me there. I was actually talking with my mom about this podcast and my dad, and they just happened to bring up some like cool old stories, and they were saying like I was that kid who was like always climbing out of the crib and jumping around. And apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently I started, I walked at like, I can't remember if it was 7 or 9 months, like pretty early. And then I ran 2 days later. Like apparently I was just on my feet.
Kid's a problem.
Kid's a problem. I love that one. But yeah, apparently I was just loved running around. So my parents basically framed it like I was this like animal that needed to like get his energy gone.
Kind of sounds like it, to be honest.
Sounds like it. So yeah, they put me in everything. I played, when I was really young, I think my parents wanted me to just like dip my toes into everything. I think I played some soccer and played lacrosse for a while.
Lax bro.
Love lax bro, baby.
Okay.
I had a bit of a time off for a while there. I played when I was really young, and then some other sports took over, which I'll get into, and then picked it back up in the high school days and played some lacrosse. I'm pretty terrible, not gonna lie.
What position?
But it's good. I'm a midi, or I was a midi.
I asked that like I knew lacrosse positions. I really don't. But
So I'm-
midi is what, midfield kind of?
Midfield, yeah. So
Okay.
basically, you got the guys at the back, you got the middies, and then you got attack. So middies are basically runners. So I've always been a runner. I ran track, cross country. Those were like my main like high school sports that I was
Okay.
like actually really good at. But yes, I was a runner. So, and I hadn't played in a long time. My stick handling wasn't great, but I could be aggressive and I could get the ball and I could run the ball to our end. So I think that's where that came in handy.
So you're cross country, you said?
Yeah.
So you run 5K, right?
And 5K is grade 9.
You guys bump it up as you move?
Yeah. So every year it bumped up. So I think grade 12 was like 7.8.
I had no idea that's how it works in Canada. In America, we just run 5K.
Yeah, I've heard about that too, because I actually have a friend I used to run with. He went to school in the States, and he was running 5K, and I saw that. Yeah,
So I was going to ask your 5K PR, but it sounds like you would have had it in 9th grade. So I mean, it might not all be all that special.
I might not even remember. I was not top. Like, you know, by the time you get to high school, you're running against kids that like this is like their
runners.
sport.
Yeah.
I was still like doing what I'm doing now. Like I was wakeboarding, snowboarding. Like those are my sports. But I was always kind of under the mindset that if I'm gonna be at school, I'm gonna be involved and do any of the sports I can. Maybe even bite off a little bit more than I can chew, and kind of overextend myself a little bit, which is a problem I've definitely had in my life. But yeah, like clubs and teams, and I don't know, it was just fun. It made school enjoyable, and yeah, it was sick. But back to sports, like the ones that really made me tick when I was young were the extreme sports. Like from a really young age, I was just telling you, I got a big text from my cousin, and so yeah, I started skiing when I was 2. He was reminding me, and then snow skiing, yeah. And then my cousin was snowboarding, and all his buddies were snowboarding, and they're like 9 years older than me, and I like idolized them, dude. Like idolized them. Like I can definitely say Jordan was like my first like idol. Like my dad too. He snowboarded as well. Like Jordan, I just thought they were so cool. They came in such a good era. They were all so good. They're all still so good. Like Jordan's buddy Mark is still out west, still shredding, sponsored, like loving life, and he like shredding. So I looked up to those boys, and I just wanted to be like them. So I wanted to snowboard. But my parents, they said on the phone the other day when we were talking about it, they were like, it was child abuse. It was child abuse.
How so?
I thought that was so funny.
How so?
Because they made me ski first. I thought that was so funny for them to look back and say it like that. But yeah, they made me ski, and they told me that I would be able to snowboard if I was able to do every run at our ski resort in full like control.
Okay.
Like not being an animal, just trying to get to the bottom as
Yeah,
fast as you
dive on it,
can.
yeah.
Like in control, like show us you know what you're doing. Show us like you understand how skiing works and you're safe. Because at that time, snowboarding was scary and no one did it. And like I know I'm pretty young, but still, even back then, it was rare.
I mean, we're talking 20 years ago, right?
We're talking
15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it would have been 5. So yeah, I guess that was like 18 years ago,
Yeah.
or 17 years ago.
around that time. Okay.
But yeah, so I did that when I was 5, and my dad was telling me, I finally told him, like, I'm ready. Test me. So yeah, we did that, and then my dad said, I didn't remember this, but I went and did all the runs. We did every run. He like checked off his mental checklist, and he was like, okay. Went to the shop, rented me a board.
And how'd it go?
Pretty good.
Really?
Apparently I got to the bottom first run. Just like the little bunny hill
Sure.
where you take the magic carpet up. I don't know if we moved from, we'd have to ask him, but I don't know if we moved from the bunny hill day 1, but like, I think I just, like, it's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, I thought it was,
Snowboarding was cool, man.
dude, it still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, it still is. So yeah, that kind of progressed, and snowboarding was my winters from then on.
So would you say that kind of took over, like in the aspect of like, yeah, you're doing these other sports, but you latch onto the extreme sports, and snowboarding is kind of like the one that you're doing?
That, and we can get into that, but then also motorcycles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did want to talk about motorcycles. So when did you get into that? Because
I think
a
maybe
young kid, or
I think maybe even younger than skiing.
really?
Like probably as soon as I could walk. My grandfather is Dillon, and he was a professional speedway motorcycle rider.
So explain what that is. Speedway motorcycle rider.
Speedway it still exists, but like back then, motocross wasn't really a thing. You know, it wasn't the thing. It was different back then. Kind of, you had flat track. Motocross was kind of starting, but the thing at the time was speedway. So speedway are these super skinny, like crazy fast bikes, no brakes, no gears. It's just all throttle. And it's just a circle dirt track.
Okay, I have seen this.
You've seen this?
Yeah.
And they basically you're basically drifting corners.
Yeah, they're like drifting around. Okay.
Yeah. Like tail comes out spinning wide, full throttle. It's all in like throttle control. So that was my grandfather's career. He took that really, I missed all of it. But basically So my grandfather raced for like his whole life. Like I think something crazy, like 15-time Canadian champion and like some world titles and stuff. I don't even know, but his trophy closet's
Legit,
his
yeah.
trophy closet's pretty legit. And then, but I always kind of felt sad growing up because I idolized him as well. But I missed that period of his life. You know, I'm not around for that. I'm his grandkid. So it's cool to like relive it through his stories and everything. But I was always bummed that I missed it. But it was really, really cool for me because he got into the Hall of Fame when I was 9, I think. So I got to go to that and kind of see all the guys that raced with him and all that. So it was really cool. But he ended his career in a really bad way.
Yeah, I did read about that a little bit. So if you,
Oh, you read it? You do your research, eh?
Come
you
on.
keep blowing me away, man. So you found him online, eh?
I did, yeah. I was gonna ask about with your grandfather and motorcycle and all that stuff, but
Really cool, dude.
yeah,
Yeah. So he believed he was in. I always get confused if it was France or if it was Quebec, but he was in one of the two at a race. And how it's explained to me, I still haven't got the courage to watch the video. There's a video of it.
oh, it is on video.
Yeah, I've gone back and forth.
Probably a good idea not to.
Yeah, like I know my dad's never seen it. I know some people in my family have. It was my grandmother that was recording it.
Oh God.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty brutal. So how it's been explained to me is he was taking a corner wide, and another guy was on the inside, and then he kind of spun out and laid the bike down, and my grandfather ran over his bike, and then like something just caught, and he went like head over the handlebars and like flew right into the boards.
Oh.
So yeah, like broken neck, broken back, I think like collarbone, femur, maybe even humerus. Like just, I can't even list everything. Like he was just ruined, coma, like really scary. And my parents were dating at the time. So actually, no, they were pregnant with my brother. So like they were like starting a family and like getting things going. Cause my grandfather was crazy. He's still racing. This was like, he was like 40 something.
Yeah.
Still chucking. I love it. Obviously don't love that this happened, but I still think it's really cool that he was still kind of not at the top of his game, but still
getting after it,
still
dude.
getting after it. Still making a career happen. But yeah, so I think that was pretty traumatic for my whole family.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
So my mom made my dad swear to her that her children wouldn't race. So growing up, obviously I'm young, and I've already explained to you the type of kid I was. It sounds like a kid, motocross is popping, like it sounds like my avenue, right? But it was always a hard no. And when I was young, I think it frustrated me. I always like respected my mom for having that opinion.
Sure.
But I was a young kid. I was definitely frustrated by it. I didn't understand. As I've gotten older, I understand. And I have some buddies that race motocross and have like lost their friends. Like, so it's a tough one. I respect everyone that does it, but basically because of that, my grandfather, as soon as he was healed up, he's now got 2 metal bars in his neck still, holding that thing up so he can like fall asleep, like just sitting up and shove Cheetos in his mouth. But yeah, so he's got that, but so he couldn't like race or anything anymore, obviously, but he still loves bikes, still had his road bike. So he got into trials. Do you know what trials is?
Is that where you jump them around?
Yeah, so it's like slower speed, really like peppy bikes in first and second.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it's basically like an obstacle course.
Yeah.
It's kind of like parkour on a motorcycle.
I used to play like a trials video game in elementary and middle school where you
Sick.
play on the computer.
Yeah, I've probably played the same one. I'm sure I have.
So I know what you're talking about, yeah.
So he got into that. He was involved, like he collected bikes, worked on bikes all the time. So he found, I don't know how he found it, but he found this like league, I think, of guys maybe he used to race with, or they're all like old heads that were just super cool and like really neat guys. And it was kind of like a vintage motorcycle like club, but like also like a series, and it traveled all around Ontario. So obviously he got me on a bike really young. There's like photos of me, in front of him when I'm like tiny. And I think he gave me my first 50cc Honda when I was like 4 or 5 maybe. Just like an old little trail cruiser, like these huge fat wheels.
Oh, yeah.
Like terrible, not a trials bike at all. But I would just rip around, and my dad and my older cousins were joining Elite 2 kind of just for fun. But then throughout the years, my cousin and I got pretty good. And then we got to the point that like I was riding like, some older school bikes, but then my dad was like, okay, like he's taking this pretty serious. So we ended up investing like legit, like I think it was like a 75 or a 100, 110 or something. Like actual like low seat proper, and started taking it a little bit more serious. So yeah, so summers were that, like took that to like nationals level and things like that. Got a couple CMA titles to my name. But I was young, like, you know, it's like probably the equivalent of winning worlds when, you know, in the boys division.
Talent pool isn't
or
really...
not worlds, sorry, nationals. Talent pool wasn't there, but it was just fun, and it was cool to like be involved with my grandfather and we were a motorcycle family. Like it was just cool to be involved, but yeah, I never led a race. So trials was like my calling for that. My mom was okay with that, but then it's always so funny because, you know, she's all paranoid that her kid's going to be this extreme sport adrenaline junkie, like his grandfather. And then she says no to this. She said no rugby. Like she was worried about head injuries, which like I respect it. But now I'm a wakeboarder, grew up snowboarding and did trials. Yeah. And then snowboarding winners took off and started getting gnarly. And I can't count the amount of times I've almost gave my mom a heart attack.
So I want to dive into a little bit on snowboarding too, because
Sure.
you started young, but when did it become something that you were, you know, kind of taking a little bit more seriously?
Yeah. So kind of coming back to my cousin Jordan, Jordan and his buddies were doing it, and I started when I was 5. And I don't know when we kind of got like we were always tight. He's my cousin, but I don't know when it kind of started happening. But I just started tagging along with them. So I would have been like 6, 7. They would have been 9 years older than that. So, you know, they're like teenagers.
Yeah.
Up to no good. And they just started taking me everywhere. So I went with my family, like on the weekends and everything. I think I did some like small like coaching programs, but my cousins like gave me such an education in snowboarding, like what it meant to them. And like they lived and breathed it. They were snowboarder. They're to me, they're like as core gets. Which like I'm not even I wouldn't even call myself nearly as core as like those guys were. So to kind of have them like really just take me under their wing, and I just spent a hell of a lot of time with them. Dude, I don't, to this day, I give them, my cousin and all of his friends, like the most love and respect, because like I don't know anyone who takes a, you know, 7, 6, 8-year-old kid under their wing when you're like 16, 17, like they want to get girls, they probably want to party, you know, and they were hanging out with this little kid, taking him everywhere. They brought me so many places I should not have been. And like I saw so many things earlier than I probably should have, but it was like, I felt like I learned so much. So they had me in the park all the time. And then my family took us out of school. My mom homeschooled me. She was a teacher, now a principal. And my parents had been saving up and wanted to do this ever since they got married. They took us on a 6-month trip all around North America. We did a little bit in like South America, but mainly North America in a trailer with a minivan.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty rad. And we hit a whole bunch of places. Like we went, it was 6 months. It was incredible. And it was just really cool. My parents didn't come from a ton, and, you know, worked really hard, and this is something they really want to do, and they saved up for it. So they always set a good example there. But we started in Colorado for like a month and a half, I think.
In winter or?
In winter.
Okay.
And that's when things changed. Jordan and Mark, his friend, they came with us. And like I think my parents do kind of expected it to be like a family trip, all riding together, groomers. But like I could not be bothered. Like I didn't want to ride groomers. I just wanted to be in the park. I wanted to be on side hits. I wanted to be snaking. I wanted to be a little rascal. So yeah, they took me under their wing. We rode Breck and Breck mainly, but a few of the other parks too. And felt like, I think Jordan was telling me, I think I learned like some 180s, maybe a front board on like a box or something. Like not good at all yet, but just sending side hits, hucking myself, getting wrecked. And I believe that was kind of like a turning point. My parents were kind of like, okay, like maybe there's something here. Jordan was like saying that he thought I was really like had some potential. So my parents looked for something better, something that could support me and do it safely. Cause my mom's always been not overprotective, but, just trying to be safe. So I remember her like first year on a snowboard team wanting to have that like ski racer, like bar that comes along. Me like, Mom, like, no, like this.
Just because it's like, this will make it safer.
Yeah, this will make it safer.
Yeah.
It'll protect your mouth. So she's come a long way. But yeah, so we found, or I can't say we, my parents found Simple Snowboarding. Simple Snowboarding connected me with Elliot Catton, who is now the national team coach. Coaches Liam, coaches Mark, and Sam Marcotte. I think it was like Sam started it, Elliot came in, and there was a bunch of other coaches that were super important to me. So thanks to all those guys. But I grew up with that crew, and it changed my life, man. That crew was, the whole experience, dude, they built my foundation. Those boys, the amount of times Elliot would make me not hit the park and just ride groomers, show me you can carve, show me you can turn, show me you can butter, like fundamental, show me your shoulders can be square, learn proper hip ollies. Like, he just, like, hit us over the head with fundamentals. And at the time, I think we hated it. But I think I owe a lot of that to my transition to wakeboarding.
Yeah.
And Elliot and I especially, me, Elliot, and Sam all had good relationships. Some of the other coaches like Kevin and Craig and Mike and lots of other guys. But we had a good connection, but Elliot was hard on me. But growing up too, I could tell that he was hard on me because I think he really believed in me. And that was really cool. And then I think my last year with Elliot before I think he left, like, looking back, my crew was crazy. Like, the crew, like, you know, we had like 7 coaches on that team. And then the kids would be broken up with the different coaches. And for somehow a lot of this season, my crew was like me, Colton Conway, Mikey Cicerelli, Tyler Nicholson. Like, dude, the big dogs. Like, Tyler's a backcountry king now.
Yeah.
Mikey's a backcountry king
That coaching
now.
tree is like unreal.
Dude, Elliot and Sam have a freaking resume. And I didn't know at the time, like, they were incredible to me. Keith Brulette, Jesse Lauk, so many people I look up to. But yeah, like, progressed through there. And yeah, just like gave me my fundamentals. I was never like a Liam category level with snowboarding. I was a lot younger. I stopped a lot younger, but I'm super happy with this snowboard career I did have. And, I feel like it just set me off on such a good trajectory.
So speaking of that, you didn't snowboard for a long time. I mean, you did for a long time, but once you transitioned, when did you stop snowboarding, I guess, like pursuing it, I could say?
For sure. So I had a really good last season. I was 13. I got invited to the junior jam, and it was in Seven Springs, Pennsylvania, and they were doing slopestyle for the first time for like a junior jam. And it was the first time it wasn't at like in Colorado or wherever it was. And I went and like got to compete with like Red and like all the big dogs, and ended up getting third, which I think someone fell. I gotta be honest.
I was gonna say, did you beat Red? I mean, or is he up top?
No,
He's got to be up top
dude,
on that podium.
Red was big dicking back then, man. Take this in. He was qualified for that, and they were like, we want you to practice. You're too good. They pumped him up to the pro category. Because he's like 2 or 3 years older than me.
Oh, is he? Okay.
So he would have been really young too.
Yeah.
So he would have been like 15, 16, I think. And he was tiny.
Yeah. He still is pretty small.
Still is pretty small, but he was tiny. But yeah, I'm trying to think who. Jake Cantor was on the podium with me, I think. These boys wouldn't remember me now. But then the following season, I guess to say this, like, we got to kind of talk about the start of wakeboarding, I guess.
So yeah, if this is when that happened, that's a good kind of.
So wakeboarding was like a little bit before the end. So, Cameron Spalding.
Yep.
So Cameron and Liam were like 2 of like my little brothers, and Cam and I were talking. We're like 2 young kids. We're 11, and I think he's 3 years younger than me, so he was like 8. And he was like, Riley, like, you got a wakeboard in the summers. And I was like, but like, yeah, I don't have a boat, like, whatever. Before that, like, I'd done some wakeboarding because we had like a family cottage that like my entire extended family share, like way up in like Kingston, Ontario area.
Way up north there.
Way up there, bud. I was waiting for that the whole time, but yeah, we had a little cottage up there, and then my my grandfather had like a super old like little ski boat. He liked to barefoot. Of course, man, the motorcycle guy. He liked to barefoot. He liked to
Speed.
speed, slalom ski, whatever. So we'd do like some tubing or whatever, just like a couple times a year whenever we went up to the cottage. And then we got the wakeboard going a little bit. Didn't even know what we were doing, but like I was snowboarding. I wanted to wakeboard. My dad told me a story that like he asked if I wanted to water ski. And I was like, I don't want to ski. Just like freaking out. Oh, it was funny. So I tried it a few times. I was riding behind like also like the little tinny boat with like a 15er on it.
Oh,
just getting pitted on that. So that's like I did wakeboard before this, but then there was like a long stretch, like probably like 5 years that like I didn't touch it. You know, learned it when I was young, had fun with the fam, but didn't ever think about it. And then he's telling me that there's a wake park I should go to in Newmarket. And I'm like, no way. Why don't I know this? And I go and tell my parents. My parents pulled it like, oh, honey, like, that's super optimistic, but, like, we've lived here a long time. This doesn't, I'm sorry. They go and talk to Cam, and they're like, Cam, we're sorry, like, there's no water in Newmarket. Like, you must be thinking of a different place. And he's like, no, like, there's a wake park there. We talked to their family. Turns out there's a wake park there. And it worked out good because this is kind of at the point where a lot of the team was going to, like, New Zealand in the summers to, like, keep training, and I was too young, and I don't know if we could afford that. And I was just I don't think my mom would have let me go even if we could. So it came out perfect. So the coach was like, yeah, cross train, do some wakeboard and keep the board sport feeling going. And yeah, just tried it, showed up, the Ranch Lake Park legends. And yeah, they all took me under their wing. And for a while there, it was just like just for fun. Like it was just something to do, something to get my energy out, something to push that. I love to push myself, love to scare myself and just be on a board, and I loved it. But it was just for fun. But then I had that snowboard year when I was 13, a couple seasons wakeboarding. I'd done a couple like grassroots events. We had a series called The Roots in Ontario. Grassroots.
Up all night thinking of the name for that one, huh?
Oh, I know, a hard one. But ran by some really cool people like Erica Langman, Leslie Sparks, so many people, Jason, someone I still work with today. But yeah, so we did some of those, but like nothing crazy yet. And then I was trying to like put a little more energy into wakeboarding now. It was like people were like helping me, and I had Drew Austin, like we'll have to talk about him. And like the people at the ranch, like really they felt like it was just super supportive environment, dude. Like I felt like, especially Drew, like could see something in me and would always remind me that. And I just fell in love with it. And so I was 14 coming into the winter, feeling pretty inspired. And I think first week got destroyed.
I was going to ask about this. You had a good slam, right?
Yeah. Got absolutely destroyed. I don't actually, like, I don't remember much. But basically how I was told is like super overshot the jump, came around like blind, and like didn't see the landing until the last second, missed the whole landing, and then like went straight nose pick to shoulder, and like conkied myself real good. And I still remember though, I do remember the feeling of getting up, like on the ground, and it's to the point, you know, you're hurt to that point where like you don't even feel anything. You're just like, what is going on? And I could tell something was wrong. My shoulder felt really low. My head was like dying, and I went like this, like just to like move my shoulder, and like just nothing, and then it like drooped down, and I started kind of like panicking a little bit. And anyway, this was like after training. We'd done a full day of training. My coach would always be like, "Don't ride after a long day. Like you shouldn't do it." I think it was like first lap, like so stupid. I'll probably try a trick I shouldn't have been at like icy 5 p.m., you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so got smoked. Ended up riding down. My parents still don't let me forget that. They were like, you should have waited for ski patrol. You could have hurt yourself so much worse. But yeah, rode down. And yeah, broken collarbone, tore some ligaments. Like it was a pretty gnarly one, like one of those ones where, you know, people fracture it or whatever, but this one was like fully twisted. Staunched up and daunched up. I love those guys. Yeah, so I went to the hospital. They had to do the full like 4 doctors around me, like, to reset it. And, like, just, like, reefing on it. Like, oh, dude, so bad. And I was out for a while. Didn't need surgery. I was blown away. It's crazy. Like, the doctor was saying, like, yeah, when you're young, a lot of times, like, come back in, like, 2 weeks. We'll see if it's growing. But, like, a lot of times you guys get lucky because you're so young. And they just heal. So now they're healed like this. So I got, like, a super strong right collarbone now.
Yeah, you got super strength on that one.
Yeah, and it was always scary because I lost a lot of range of motion. So for wakeboarding, I always thought that would be a problem, but it never has been.
Busting out 1080s, no problem. I mean, come on.
But yeah, so that happened. And so all that happened was, like, you know, first real major injury. You know, it was kind of just a collarbone. Like, lots of people break their collarbone, but the severity of it made it feel a lot more serious, mixing it with the head. And I remember doing, like, a lot of, like, reflecting and being like, and realizing right there and then that I had, like, 2 wakeboard trips planned with Liam and his dad and my dad. And I was more sad that I was missing the wakeboard trips than I was missing my snowboard season. And you're a kid. You think something like that, and you don't know what to do. And I think I was talking to someone about it. I think my mom said something like, well, like, take a minute and just, like, think about that. I don't want to tell you anything. Just, like, think about that. And I remember thinking about it, coming back to her and being like, why am I putting all this into this? Like, this doesn't mean I don't love snowboarding. It's just that I love snowboarding and I love doing it and being involved. I'm still involved in it. We'll get into that. But, like, you know, I still am affiliated with Snowboard Canada. I'm a judge for Snowboard Canada. So, like, I'm still in the industry. I love the industry. I'm a snowboard nerd. But, like, I just realized that maybe the competitive path, you know, by this point the triples were happening, and I just didn't know if I wanted to, like, I was more of a rail guy. I still hit jumps too, but I liked rails. And I just didn't know if the competition path, like, I was always looking ahead. I always kind of had that in me. And looking ahead at the life and everything, I just was like, I don't know if I want this. I want it. Like, I like the idea.
Yeah.
I love doing it. But, and something about wakeboarding calling me like this and, you know, being like 2 trips, like what? That's like 3 weeks of the winter. I would rather spend 3 weeks of the winter wakeboarding than my whole.
Oh, these were winter trips to go wakeboarding.
These are winter trips. So, like, this is like
right in the middle of the season.
So right in the middle of the season, I was going to take time because I wanted to take time out of the winter season to go do some wakeboard trips instead of snowboard trips or whatever. And even though it's winter season and I'm in snowboard mode, someone's like, or my brain's like, I want to wakeboard. So that was like the clincher. So I didn't make any decisions. I was hurt. Like, you know, a lot of things go through your head when you're hurt. But recovered, finished off the season, made the decision. I'm like, I'm going to let this go. And also, like, snowboarding was expensive. Simple was really expensive, worth every penny. But, you know, and it took up a lot of time. Like, I started on Saturday, Sundays, switched in grade 4, I think, switched to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so skipping school every Friday. And a lot of times that turned into Thursday too. And then maybe a Monday if we were at a contest. So, like, it was getting insane and expensive. So I also realized really young that, like, I had a big mature conversation with my parents, like, trying to understand, like, is this possible, like, to do more wakeboarding, and them kind of communicating to me that, like, you know, maybe we can't do more for snowboarding or more for wakeboarding because of the snowboard thing. But, like, if you do make this decision, like, we're happy to help you with, like, we were planning to help. We thought you were going to keep snowboarding. So we'd be happy to help you like we were helping you in snowboarding to do this wakeboard thing. You know, I was like a 14-year-old kid. And that's all I needed to hear.
So 14 was like the turning point?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess it would have been the summer going into grade 9. So it was like that winter. I think it was grade 8. I think that's right, grade 8. And then, so it would have been that summer going into grade 9 that, like, things changed.
Any of your snowboard buddies at the time be like, you're quitting snowboarding for wakeboarding? Like,
I got a lot of flack,
yeah,
for sure. I got a lot of people. My snowboard buddies actually didn't give me a lot of crap.
Okay.
A lot of the guys I started with had kind of moved on. Like, you know, Mikey was out, Colton was out, Tyler was out, and, like, you know, the year after that I met Liam and Cam. So, like, I had kind of a bit of a new crowd anyway. And Liam started riding the same time I did, wakeboarding. So, and Cam was a wakeboarder too. So the people I was closest to, and like Jesse was a wakeboarder too. Jesse was not on the simple team. Jesse Jarrett wasn't on the simple team, but like we competed against him. I grew up with Jesse. Great guy. So I think the like my peers understood what I was doing.
Yeah, because they were about it too.
And they're like, "Yeah, love it. You're killing it. Like whatever." And I made it very clear that I wasn't quitting snowboarding. I'm not quitting this sport. I still like the next year I still snowboarded like almost just as much. Okay, not just as much, because you're not taking it like an athlete perspective trade. Just having fun with it. And like still, dude, I've like, especially on rails, like I've gotten better since 14. I definitely peaked on jumps at 14. I mean, maybe 15, but yeah, it was pretty cool. And yes, no one really, my peers gave me flack, but older people gave me flack. Like not necessarily flack. Some of them were supportive. Some of them were mean. Some of them were really unsupportive. So like I kind of got the everything. But like the most impactful one I can think of, like Melissa Curtin, she sat me down. She used to be the editor of SBC Canada. And she like sat me down. She was like a big role model for me too. And she was kind of like, I just want you to realize that like you're really good at this snowboard thing. And like you got a good thing going here. I think you have what it takes. But in this wakeboard thing, like you're not gonna like, I don't think you're gonna be able to build the life you want from this wakeboard thing, like in terms of a financial sense. Yeah. And so I'd supportive things like that going on, making me think like, cause it's a big decision, it's your whole life. Like I remember that winter I was injured. I'd just done like 5 years of this straight, and like I didn't know what to do with myself. Like I wasn't able to hang out with friends years before that. Like I would, but like at school or like a little bit after school, but like my friends were my like snowboard friends. Yeah. It was just a big shock. But really quickly I got all the closure I needed, and I didn't care. And it was my first big lesson into like why you do what you do. And I was young, and I'm happy I figured that out, because literally everyone was telling me like, why are you doing this? Like you can make so much money in snowboarding, which I don't know, like yes or no. But
there's more money in snowboarding, but there's more people. It's a lot more saturated. For sure.
So there's pros and cons to both. But for me, it wasn't about that. Like I think this whole kind of situation taught me the lesson of like, do it because you love it. And I picked wakeboarding because I love it, and I still do it because I love it. I don't do it for a paycheck.
Okay. So I think now is a good time to talk or pull up a question from who you were talking about, Liam Brearley. So go ahead and fire that up.
Good old Lemur.
How old's Liam?
Liam is almost 21. He'll be turning 21 this month.
Oh, what a year to turn 21.
Right?
All right. So we got 2 from Liam. See if this baby.
2.
All right. So we got a couple questions from Liam. We're going into these blind, so we don't know what he's going to ask here. I didn't play it beforehand, so.
Yeah, Hunter told me he was scared because he didn't know if Instagram messages deleted.
Dude, I swear someone sends you like a voice message that has like an expiration date, but apparently I'm wrong. So
it's okay. We still like you, man.
All right, here we go.
Hey, it's Liam here. I just wanted Riley to talk about learning air tricks, especially only riding 2.0 when we were younger, when we had to go compete in the States and for Worlds and everything like that, and how many bad slams we all took in the process as well. Thank you.
All right, so you want to answer that first one, then we'll get to the second one?
Oh, I love the thank you at the end, too. Liam's such a legend. I love that, dude.
Yeah, run us through that.
That's so funny. That's like, and I love that he asked that question, because it opened like a memory I haven't thought about in ages. But yeah, man, we got worked. We grew up in like the era of like the raft Jerome, and I don't know if he talks about like Raph hates air tricks. The Quebec guys were like so prominent at the time. They hate air tricks. Like, and then that kind of fizzled into Ontario. And like, I remember Liam and I trying to learn air tricks so we could like be taken seriously at like some more comps, or like trying to move into some States comps or whatever, like learn our first rallies, our first back rolls, whatever. And like, I'd have people at the wake park be like, you can't ride. I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you're learning air tricks. We don't do air tricks here. Like, dude, it was intense.
Spicy.
Dude, it was intense when I was young. And my parents would get so angry because he's like, this is a kid. Like, these are 2 kids trying to, like, do what they need to do to, like, move on. And you're just, like, shaming them.
Yeah.
But we didn't care. We could give 2 craps. We knew this is what you needed to do to, like, have a stepping stone. I don't think we were the biggest fans of doing. We were both super scared. But yeah, oh my God. There's so many stories, but I remember like being at the rail yard actually, I think with Drew, and Drew was helping Liam and I learn air tricks. And I think we were trying both back rolls or whatever. And I was just getting like obliterated. And that classic feeling of like, I don't know if I scoop, if anything's going to happen. And then just like getting worked. We both definitely got knocked out a handful of times on railies, as you do.
The railie is the textbook KO.
Yeah, I had a really scary one in Winnipeg that got me like pretty knocked out, and Michaela Phillips had to save me. Yeah, but yeah, I think that was really cool with Liam because no one did air tricks in Ontario. I think the only one would be Erica Langman, and she just did them so she could go ride the World Cups in IWF and would practice for like 2 days before. Just like, oh yeah, I got my rail, I got my crip, got my blind judge. Like screw it. Like, you know, it just was not the vibe where we're from. It was rails. So I think it was really cool to have Liam with me because I don't care who you ask. If they don't say this to you, they're lying. Learning your first air tricks is intimidating and it hurts. And there's a little bit of mental warfare going on. So to have Liam there and we both going through the same thing, and I think it helped a lot. So
I definitely agree. Learning your first air trick is definitely intimidating. No matter what. I mean, even if you're a very skilled wakeboarder and you've never done one,
it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's just it's a new feeling. Like I don't really feel like you get that feeling.
It's completely unlike kickers and
exactly
and rails. So yeah, I agree with that. All right, so we got second question from Liam here. Go ahead and run
Good
that.
question, Liam.
I would also like to ask Riley about his decision to transfer from doing both snowboarding and wakeboarding to committing to wakeboarding and what that was like for him.
So yeah, I mean, we're kind of in the
love
heart
that.
of it right now. This
You,
is good
dude,
timing
you're such
there.
a good podcast out. You read Liam's mind.
I did read Liam's mind, so love that. Thanks, Liam. I mean, so let's continue on to, the snowboarding versus wakeboarding thing. So 14, 15 is kind of when the transition happened. Are you picking up any sponsors at this point?
In
Board
snowboarding
sponsors?
or in
wakeboarding? Once you made the transition.
Absolutely. I was getting some support. I got support. I'm like pretty lucky with how my transition went. I was pretty taken care of in snowboarding. I got a burden pretty young. And we had a really good burden squad. And through snowboarding, I'd met some people and some distributors, and some connections were made. So pretty early on, actually leading up to this, I'm going to tell you this. So picture this. 11-year-old Riley Dillon walks into the Ranch Wake Park full of Bray Noy, Drew Austin, the Boyson brothers, like all these super hesh, like back in the day, super sick guys. And I roll up with my dad, and I have like a 145. I'm 11. Like, this is a huge board. 145 Costco Hobby. That was my wakeboard, the Costco Hobby. Rode that for like 2 years with rubber bindings that were like 3 sizes too big. So I rolled up, and that was my board. Drew would let me ride his board like the day before a contest so I could ride his board in the contest because he said I was going to get chirped.
Honestly, this day and age, if a kid shows up with a fucking Costco board, dude, I'm not chirping that kid. That's sick.
I think
back then,
I think I was getting ripped on.
The hash cats, I mean, they're not about that. Yeah.
And I was a shithead little Grom. Like, I got the blunt out of the stick. But anyway, so Drew was sick. He would let me ride his board and everything. But yeah, we even competed on the hobby. And then I think it was the end of the second season, I like started trying to do some like competition, just like the local roots events or whatnot. But like really good riders. Like back then, like, Raph and Ollie and Ben and Nick, like they would come to some of these events. So it was pretty sick, like a really wide range of riders, and boat too. And I ended up winning the newbie category. It's like the boys 12 and under or whatever,
yeah.
Newbie 12 and under. And I won a Liquid Force PS3. So that's like my first like wakeboard.
Legit deck. Okay.
Yeah, and I rode that sucker till she was rotten. Like I think 2 or 3 seasons, like, probably thousands of hours a year. Like had the molded fins and grinded them right down. And I was riding at the ranch one day, and someone I'd met in snowboarding, because he was also don't know what he was distributing at the time, but now he does like Nidecker, Flow, does Ronex as well, and Hyperlight at the time as well. So we'd met a few times, but I was a young kid. But I like to talk and I like to meet people. So we talked, we knew each other, and I knew he was there. And I could see a different tune in his brain. Like I could tell him like he was watching me like a hawk. Like it kind of felt like I was getting scouted. Like it legit felt like I was getting scouted. And my dad said to me, I was already thinking it. My dad was like, "You're getting scouted. Like, come on, have some fun out there." And I went out and like rode the best out of my life. Learned like 3 new tricks. Like I felt like I was just like rifling off all the tricks I knew that I thought were cool. And I was like, okay, I'll try this. Like figured it out. I think I landed my first 7 that set. And I came in. I didn't know what I was expecting. I didn't even really like understand who he was. And he came up to me and we started talking, and his name was Andrew Murdison. Shout out. And yeah, he basically was like, he's like, "You're what I want. Like I want a kid. I want someone to be the next Christian Primrose." He was hooking up Christian at the time. And he was like, "I think you're it." And like no one, even in snowboarding, really, like no one had like spoken to me like that. So like, thank you to Murd for like seeing something in me and like probably giving me a deal too soon. Like looking back, like I don't know if I was ready. Like I hadn't been doing it a long time. Like I was decent, but I wasn't great. Like, so I felt like I feel like that's more rare these days. Like I could tell he was putting in an investment and hoping it would pay off. And at least that's what it felt like to me. And it was really special. So he offered me Hyperlight or Ronex. And I had to pick one.
That's so funny when a distributor has like all these different brands.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
And I had no idea what to do. I think I spent about 20 hours on both websites being like, well, I don't know. But I was a huge fan of Dom. So, especially back then, like, wow. I didn't know how I felt about the systems at the time. Like they were doing the systems, and
they were probably pretty fresh at that point, I would imagine.
I think they were pretty fresh, and I thought the idea was really cool, but I don't know. It was like, oh, this is new. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. I think they're really cool now, especially with like the low cut, high backs.
High backs, yeah. They're definitely more dialed in now than they were back then, for sure.
So I wasn't sure about that, and I don't know. I liked the team on Ronex. I liked the vibe. That was the Elvon Vital Schnook, the one that like Dom rides in the debut.
Yep.
So yeah, chose Ronex, got a fresh little setup, and then that was like pretty much it. And then soon after that, I had another like kind of impactful guy in like my early years, Andy Stevenson. He's just like a businessy guy. Started with small businesses. Now he owns like a wedding venue and is doing really well for himself. But he started a business called Sleek Apparel. And it was just like printing clothes, handmade, just out of his parents' garage. And he was like local in Mount Albert, which is like a town just like beside me. I don't even know why. He was doing like every sport. He was affiliated with Mike Gray. He was like a professional BMX rider, and they were like buddies. So again, he was just like taking me under his wing and bringing me everywhere and sponsoring me with Sleek Apparel. It was like not much, but he would just like give me opportunities to meet people, to network, he would just bring me everywhere, kind of like my cousin did. So it was kind of like Sleek Apparel and Ronex were helping me out. But like Ronex the first year, like I think I got a deal, like a Proform type beat the first year, like, and then I maybe got free product the year after.
So Proform, for those people, you're paying for, it's usually what, cost plus a percentage of it or something like that?
I think he was really nice. I think he actually just gave me cost.
Okay.
But yeah, you're paying, he's not, you're making sure he doesn't lose any money on his product because he's a distributor and he pays for his boards. You know, he's technically not Ronex, you know, he's just a distributor.
Sure.
So he's helping you get product at a more affordable way.
So then you get free deck next year, free setup next year.
I think so. It was either the next year or the year after that. But yeah, I was with, he's the reason I was on Ronex so long. But for a while, again, I was nobody. I was just some kid kid from Ontario, no one knew, but Andrew saw something in me, so he was just helping me get product. And there was like I've learned now that apparently the like Liquid Forest and O'Brien guy like wanted to pick me up or something, so he like beat him to the mark. So kudos to you, Merd.
There you go. I got a Patreon question here from Ollie Jerome. So if you guys want to see the guests
Uncle
early, love Ollie. If you want to see the guests early, make sure to join that Patreon. We got Riley on the Patreon.
Absolutely, get on there.
So he's wondering, because this is interesting. Canada is an interesting, environment, I guess, when it comes to cable riding, because it's basically just 2 tower systems.
Yeah, it's
so
unique.
He's wondering, do you think you would have had a different progression curve with exposure to a full size cable rather than 2 tower parks? And then I've got some follow up questions on that, but I'm interested on your thoughts on that.
That's a really good question, Ollie. Also, shout out Uncle Ollie, legend. Yeah, that's a hard one for me to answer. I think I'd want to say that I actually love 2.0. Like I'm just gonna say it right up front. Like I'm a hot take 2.0 over full size.
I disagree very hardly, but yeah.
Not every 2.0. It's got to be the right one.
But for the most part.
But I don't know. Maybe it's just because it feels like home to me because it's all I knew for so many years. But don't get me wrong, I still love to ride a full size. Yeah. It's not like I don't want to have to pick one, but I love 2.0. So I would say, yes, it maybe could have had an impact because I feel like full size cables have a unique social aspect. You have multiple carriers on the water. You have multiple riders on there. You have more features, often bigger features, more progression there. But also I remember coming to the States for the first time, and you have like so many good riders all around. You're watching all these riders. Whereas like the 2.0, you'd have to hang out for 10 hours to watch all these people ride. It's one at a time. So I'd pull up to ride my set, and I'd pull up half an hour before my set, watch the guy before me, ride my set. My dad would ride. My dad rode with me. And then maybe if I knew somebody after or like somebody in between me, like we'd watch and cheer him on, and or if someone rode after, and like we'd try to plan things to go with friends. So it was a lot more like an individual pursuit. Whereas I think it would have been really cool to have a full size because I think it would have developed more network and have put more of a fire under my butt because you're watching other people's progression, you're seeing them learn new tricks, and I think that is something. But I think the even bigger part is the geographic element. Like I think it's less about the fact that I didn't have a full size access because we did have some. Like we had the one in Quebec and the one in Winnipeg, which I don't know if you know about. But those didn't last very long, and unfortunately aren't with that. Well, Quebec one was long, but not in my lifetime. But I think it's more of the geographic element. Like I think if myself, Liam, Jesse, all these Cam, all these kids, if we had access to a full size cable, I think we could have progressed faster. But I think the geographic element is the bigger element in the play here. Like I think it's the lack of a long season, and I think that's more the limiting factor than the type of pull we were getting.
Okay, that's fair. That's a good point. I would agree with that. I got a question to follow up on the 2 tower versus full size. Are there tricks that are easier? Because you've ridden both, quite a bit of both, but probably more 2 tower growing up doing that. Are there tricks that are easier on a 2 tower system compared to a full size?
I think sometimes ollies, like rig ollies, often shorter ropes. So I feel like it helps you loft out of it's like I've done maybe some of my bigger like ollie tricks on a 2 tower. But other than that, probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. I would say kickers are definitely harder.
Okay.
Rails, I don't notice a huge difference. It just depends on the rail. But I would say, I don't know. No, I don't think they both help each other out. But I think if a 2.0 is set up really well, perfect, tower lengths, it's tight, it's fast, that's really good. But if it's squirrely and bouncy and everything, it makes everything challenging, and you got to muscle everything around. And I feel like I've found that, and maybe this is my own unique experience, but I found sometimes that full cables are more forgiving in terms of like, it doesn't really necessarily matter as much what line you take into maybe a kicker especially.
I totally think that's the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like 2.0, like every 2.0 has a different line. Like, you cut this way at this park. You cut that's like throughout our years growing up, I kind of figured out how to ride each kicker. Some are like this because we're all homemade, right? So some are really steep, some are really lofty, some are like a cheese wedge. So I would say maybe that a full size is more forgiving, but I've always felt, and I know Liam thinks this too, is like if you can do a trick on a 2.0, you can do it anywhere.
Okay. So it's almost in a sense a good way to grow up riding that because it's, maybe like you just said, if you can do it on the 2.0, I feel pretty confident going on the full size doing it.
Yeah, and also like, I've done a triathlon, but I'm not a triathlete. I don't need to like fall, swim, run. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's why you don't like the full size, bud. You like getting picked up. That's what it is.
Oh no, dude, I was a runner. Those WWA comps, I used to love the running aspect when I fell, but yeah, it was nice to be able to go out and like work on the really awkward tricks that you're not good at and not be like maybe less eyes on you because it's just you riding and you can fall and get picked right back up and put your energy into the riding, not into the walking and the swimming.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the walking and the swimming either. I usually run back to the dock. That's a pro tip for anyone out there trying to burn a little cardio. When you fall, get out, run back to the dock. It's a hardo move too, because everyone's gonna look at you. Why are you running back to the dock? What's this guy doing?
Filming a trick, bud.
What
do you do when you get to the dock? You just out of breath? Do you take a minute before you get back on the
water?
water?
Well, you are the first, several months of doing this,
Oh, so this is
workout routine.
This is the hunter, like.
If you're trying to get after it, run back to the dock.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
I feel like I've only done that when I'm filming, but maybe I just gotta start running more.
Just every time, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time for the LF and Wheel of Questions presented by Liquid Force.
Baby.
So why don't you go ahead and grab that?
The LF and Wheel of Questions.
Okay, let's go.
Bring it down on
Bring
the
it
table
down
here?
yeah.
All right.
See, we could spin it up there, but if I do that, eventually it's just going to fall off and break, and then I got to get a new one.
You don't want to get a new
I don't
one.
want to do that. This is a nice wheel.
You couldn't get a 3-for-1?
So this isn't a 3-for-1, no. All right. So, yeah, go ahead and we got a couple Canadian, changes to this wheel, but we still got the fan favorites, chug a beer, chug a glass of milk. So go ahead and...
We were talking about the fact that I'm terrified to get the hockey trivia.
Yeah, we got hockey trivia on there, and that's kind of a make or break. They're going to deport you situation if you get that wrong.
I've never played hockey.
It's the sport of Canada, so it's not that excuse doesn't fly.
Technically lacrosse, but
so yeah, go ahead and give her a big spin.
No.
Chug a glass of milk.
Chug a glass of milk, bud.
So right in that cooler behind you should be I think it's a pint of milk.
In the bomb hole cooler?
Mm-hmm. Should be in there.
Dude, shout out bomb hole.
Yeah, seriously.
Hunter off camera told me the story of how he got this cooler, and it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I'll say, long story short, Tommy Gesme's part in Video Gracias is what led me to have this cooler. So,
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you don't, well.
So I got to chug this whole thing.
You do. Oh, Benny G did it in a surprisingly good amount of time.
Yeah?
I don't know if you watched, but he was like, "Oh, I'm not a chugger," and he put the thing down, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't. We're not breaking any records here, but
I will warn you that I'm not a chugger either.
dude. Okay, is everybody gonna come in here and say that?
You can ask the boys on the Outhouse crew. I'm probably the slowest chugger.
I saw some Outhouse clips of you chugging some beers. I mean, I don't know.
I try. Like
you give it your all.
I give it my all.
And that's really all that matters.
Exactly. That's all
Do you want to check the expiration date on that first?
Oh, God, don't ask me
I'm
that
serious.
now.
No, I'm serious. Before you drink it,
I'm getting a little chunky.
is it chunky?
February 10th.
Oh, we're good. We got 2 days.
Dude, it's so safe.
Yeah, and you could drink it after.
Hey, Hunter, thanks for having me, bud. This
Cheers,
is fun.
bud. So I gotta, yeah,
Down the hatch.
down the hatch. I'm gonna fill the dead air here with. He's taking it down quick. Oh, it's quick. Hopefully it doesn't come right back up as quick as it goes down. Love that,
Protein.
dude. You housed that thing. No
I'll
problem.
give it an effort. You got a little squeeze aspect here.
Did you squeeze it a little bit?
Just a little.
Okay.
Just a little touchy touch.
You can't really do that with the beer.
Oh, yeah. The beer milk combos, though. I mean, the water Milk combo is an interesting combo.
Yeah, anything with milk is honestly an interesting combo.
Yeah, it is. Well, thanks for that, bud. I feel got my protein.
Do you wanna run a Canadian or hockey trivia to see how you do?
Sure. Pick your pick.
You pick
Want
Canadian.
me to pick?
Canadian trivia or hockey trivia.
I think it'd be funny if we did hockey trivia because I know nothing.
You know what? If you get this one wrong, it's gonna look really bad.
So maybe we should do Canadian trivia.
Nope, we're doing hockey trivia. Where was Wayne Gretzky born?
Brantford.
Nice. You know what year? That's not part of the question, but
Trying to think. I don't.
he's old.
I know he's old.
Yeah.
Let me just do some. I feel like he's not in his 80s. He's probably in his 70s. I'm going to say he's in his 70s. So let's think here. I'm going to say, dude, this is hard. No, I'm going to say 62.
61.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
that's good.
Thanks,
That's good.
bud. Hey, that was better than we expected.
Yeah, we'll do a Canadian one real quick. Just where is the waterfall capital of the world?
Niagara Falls?
Like the location of it's Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, is it?
Is that where Niagara Falls is?
No, it's not.
Niagara Falls is probably in Niagara.
Yes, it's in Niagara.
Look at me.
You're so smart, buddy.
Geographic wizard.
Yeah. I didn't know that, actually. Like, Hamilton's got some beautiful waterfalls, but I didn't know it was the capital.
Capital of the world. This one, yeah. So,
Go Hamilton.
yeah. Okay, I would, I give you props on the hockey trivia. That was good.
I'm proud of I'm happy with
You're
that.
not
I thought
getting
it was going to
deported
be.
anytime soon. So,
Thank you.
let's go contest. Would you consider yourself a contest rider?
Ooh, what a question.
Thanks to Liquid Force for the LF and Wheel question.
Thank you, Liquid Force.
Yeah, would you consider yourself a contest rider?
No. I think I could definitely be perceived as one. But in my own head, no, I'm a wakeboarder. Like, I have decided to put a lot of time into contest, especially over the last couple of years. But I realized after this season, kind of where like the free agent stuff came from too, and like outhouse stuff. I like it all. I like this, like filming and grinding contests is a completely different world. Like, they're stressful in different ways. The milk is burping.
It tastes good on the way up too, doesn't it?
Oh gosh. Yeah, they I don't know. They're push you in different ways. So I would say I've definitely put more time into contest orientation for the majority of my life in wakeboarding. But I don't want to put myself in a box like that.
Yeah.
I want to be a wakeboarder. Like, I've kind of talked to you, like, I want to do more filming. I want to keep following that path. I want to get more creative. Would love to ride some more boat. More winching, more. So yeah, I would understand if someone was like, yeah, Riley's a contest rider, but I hope when I leave wakeboarding, not leave, but like when my time's done, I'm just not known as just a contest rider, because I want to try and just be a full wakeboarder, full around complete wakeboarder. Maybe I won't be wrapped around behind the boat, but I just want to be able to do it all and have fun doing it. And but I would say right now I have been, as of late, focusing the most on contests.
Because I'm thinking back to this past summer. You'd spent a lot of time traveling Europe, doing a lot of contests.
For sure.
But you also did come out with, a month ago now, 2 months ago?
Yeah, it was
a part. So
January 1st.
Yeah, so a video part. So you're kind of doing a little bit of both. I was just curious because you spent so much time this past year doing a lot of contests. Follow that up with, do you think you can beat Trent Stuckey?
Do you think I could beat Trent Stuckey?
Yep. In a contest.
Oh, can anyone beat Trent Stuckey?
See, I could beat Trent Stuckey.
Yeah,
I mean, he just has to fall at the beginning of all his runs.
Right.
I could put something down after that for sure.
You could maybe a melon or mute front three off the mini kicker.
If I needed to, I could bust out a toe back 7.
Oh,
yeah. It might not be. It's not gonna be grabbed.
But you're gonna.
That's
you're
contest
gonna
trick.
You're gonna put it down, baby. That is the contest.
That is
trick.
the contest trick.
Yeah,
dude.
that's the one that goes across all history.
Yeah.
I want to take a second to say, people say what they will about Trent Stuckey, but kid's a machine.
Animal, dude.
He's an animal. He's got the tricks. He's got the technique. He love or hate his style. I like his style personally. But he's a machine. You can't bank on him not winning. You can't beat him. You have to own him. Like, to beat Trent Stuckey, I think you have to like beat Trent Stuckey. So I think it's a hard one. He's built this mystique now, and he's got a good mental game. You know, you see him at contests, he's dialed. He's ready. He knows what he's gonna do. He's not afraid to pull out a trick he hasn't done at this park. So when you're in that contest mode, it's hard. And like, you know, when I got third to him and Gavin, like, you know, I put down like, you know, a run that I'm super, super proud of. And I think I was still like, don't quote me on this, but at least like 5 points off him, I think. Maybe more, maybe less. But like, that's kind of like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, their level is like, I think they're changing the game in sort of the contest world. So do I think there's a world that I could beat Trent Stuckey? I like to keep a positive mindset. So yes.
Love it.
I do think there's a world. I just think it would be challenging, and I just got to keep pushing myself and keep up with all these boys and keep bringing in my own unique flair. And hopefully, of course, that works for me. But it's funny you asked me this question. Well, just because we were just hanging out with Trent today. But my dad was reminding me that first time I came to the U.S., I came to U.S. Nationals, and I beat Trent Stuckey.
So the answer is yes.
I think I was like 15 or 16. Don't know if you can count it.
I'm going to take that. I would count that to the day that I die.
Yeah, I got first. He got second, I think.
Yeah. And I don't mean to put Trent on a pedestal, because there's a lot of riders that are absolutely incredibly talented. We were just hanging out with Trent today, and he is undeniably right now, him and Gavin, I mean, have separated themselves, I feel like.
Well, and I don't want you to think you're putting him on a pedestal for that. Look at the world rankings this year. Like, it's just, there's so many guys, you know, in the top, like, let's call it the top, like, 20.
Yeah.
Like, all of them can do it. They're all capable. They're all incredible riders in their own right.
Yeah.
So you're not putting him on a pedestal.
But if we're talking betting odds, Trent is, if he's in a
Trent's
contest,
gonna be,
he is the favorite to win.
100%.
Or Gavin. Trent or Gavin. It's going to be one
100%. If you're going to drop $1 million on a bet on a wakeboard comp, you're going to feel most comfortable if it's on Trent.
Yeah.
That's just, that's saying.
And that's why I brought that up. It was like, he's, you know.
Yeah, no, I get it. Like,
So.
no, I totally understand. And yeah, I don't want to think that's putting him on a pedestal. He was dominant. Him and his brother this year were dominant. And you can see that in the results. And there's lots of other guys that are dominant just like them. And they're human too. They have feelings. They feel the pressure, but they're really good at handling it. So it's fun. I like it though. This is a good time to bring this up. People like Trent and what Trent and Gavin did this year, what, you know, other people have done in the past. You know, I feel like Liam kind of had like Peacock kind of had a season like that
For sure.
the year before.
Yeah.
You know, Pedro's kind of had a season like that. Like, there's so many people that have had a season like this. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anyone's name. Raph had that season. You know, this is part of history, and this is where, like, you know, they turn the crank one more. And they've done that. And we were even talking about this. I had a good talk with Busty Dunn about this. We were in France, and we were living together, and we talked about this one night. At the beginning of the year, I felt like there was a larger gap.
Between,
like, they were just like at LAO.
I felt that way too. I was talking with Johnny D about it. I was like, dude, these, like, I'm looking at all the rest of the field. What I'm seeing Trent and Gavin do is like
it just looked like
they got a lot of catching up to do.
Dude, it just looked like obviously Trent was filming his part too. Yeah. So he was in peak condition, like pushing himself. And so was Gavin. And, you know, I just feel like they like worked in the dark to shine in the light, and like came out and just surprised everyone. But I love that.
Oh, it's so good for the sport.
I don't like
dude.
to be a jealousy type. Like, I love that. It's great for the sport. It pushed me, and it pushed all the other boys and the girls. Like, they're doing, I'm sorry, but like, he, you know, put down the first double roll the blind in a contest, and like
with ease, dude. It's like
with ease, you know, he's doing so many things, and like, It's just also Max gave him such a good run for his money though at LAO. I know it's old news, but I would say like that was the closest one to him at that comp. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Busty and I were saying that I could see everyone kind of panic a little bit, like in a good way, but pushing everyone and pushing the sport forward. And that's why we're doing this. You know, we do it because we love it, but we're representing our sport too, and we want to push it forward in the right way. And I think that's really important. And if Trent and Gavin were the guys to push it forward this year, that's a fantastic. If they do it next year, great. Or if someone else does it, great. But, you know, they're pushing it forward in the contest way, and it's making bigger and better tricks. I hope we don't, you know, go to just like what snowboarding is kind of going through, this whole like tech versus style conversation of like adding an extra 180 versus making something look really good. But in the other way, like you said, he did our double roll to blind, grabbed with ease, stomped. So like hard to knock it.
You can't. I mean, I'm not going to knock it, and I don't know why anybody else would. I mean, you watch a Trent contest pass, and I mean, the tricks he puts down, and same with Gavin. You know, I kind of loop them into the same thing, but I think they kind of deserve to be looped into the same because the stuff they're doing is insane. And
absolutely.
And I think it's good to have a couple names that are recurring each season that are like, this is the guy to beat. For
sure.
For the average person to follow and be like,
for marketing.
Dude, it's huge. It's so huge.
Yeah,
like you got to tell the
sure.
story of like the contest, and it's like, well, Trent's coming in as the defending champ. Like everyone's trying to knock him off. Like, well, that's all storylines. And it's good though. Like
I agree.
Good for the sport.
I think it's good for the sport, and it's good to motivate the other riders who are going to shine next.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Trent and Gavin could just dominate the rest of their entire life. They could. And if that happens for them, I'm proud of them for that. But it also could light a fire under someone else and maybe be the pinnacle thing that happened to make them try that next trick or to look at it differently. So there's not one way to do it. There's not one way to do a contest pass. There's not one way to win. It's just doing something out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
And they did this year in a technical way. So I'm interested to see how people interpret that to like and try and progress and come at these boys next season or this season, I guess.
Yeah, we're getting into it. And I would suggest anyone that's kind of borderline, like, am I going to tune into, you know, cable wakeboarding contest this year? You're getting into it at a really good time. If you're like looking to follow and watch cable contests, like the live streams, like LAO's live stream is amazing. Like bunch of great live streams.
Incredible.
Bunch of great riders, bunch of great setups, great formats. Like it's a good time.
And dude, I'm newer. Like, you know, this was technically like my rookie season in a sense, like doing the whole Europe thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like we have a little bit of like a contest squad now too. Like everyone kind of like there's not a ton of beef, you know, it's contest, it's stressful, but like everyone kind of vibes and like you're traveling around the world with all these people, you're at all the same contests. Like it's just a solid crew. Everyone's pushing each other. Like, I don't know. I was just impressed this season with like the energy from everyone. Like everyone was just like trying to be better and do their best. Like it was just, I don't know. It's a good time.
It's a good time.
It's a good time.
I love it. Let's talk some videos.
Sure.
So Outhouse, The Turd. So how many Outhouse movies have there been? 4, right?
4, yeah.
4, because End of the Rolls After The Turd, right?
Yeah.
Great. All of them have great names, but
dude, Derek's a funny one.
He kills it with all that stuff.
Oh, he does, man.
So
he's done so much work.
Let's just talk about the Outhouse crew, though.
Sure.
How important has the Outhouse crew and all those movies been to shaping like who you are and your riding?
Oh, dude, huge. I feel like, man, first of all, I want to say shout out to anybody involved in the Outhouse. Like what a wake crew. Like, what a family. Like, to me, Outhouse is kind of like synopsis with Ontario wakeboarding. Like, I don't know, they kind of go hand in hand, at least from my perspective. Someone who doesn't know about it might not feel that, but I don't know. It's just, it's like the crew, it's the family, it's the people I've grown up with, looking up to, and now being, you know, peers with, and dude, it's meant the world. They're such good guys. Everyone brings something else to the table, personality or anything. And yeah, I don't know, just growing up with them, and they gave me so many opportunities. And, you know, Derek put in lots of guys put in a lot of work for these. Like Derek, especially with all the editing and mainly the main filmer, like put in a lot of work for all of us, from the younger guys like me to the older guys. Put in a lot of work to just give us a stage to work for, give us something to root for. So I'm very thankful for that. Also, it was like kind of like a, I don't know what's the word, like a rite of passage for me. Like, I didn't know these guys like super well. I was kind of more, we haven't talked about the ranch yet, but we should probably get into that. But I was kind of more with the ranch guys. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just going with the flow and trying to just be a wakeboarder and go anywhere and meet everyone. And, you know, so I met those guys maybe a little bit later and then, you know, heard they were doing this. And then Derek kind of surprised me and like put me in the friend section for the first movie. And that like, I don't know, the mystique it had to, like, it made my life, dude. Like, being like, oh, I'm in a wakeboard movie with all these, like, really cool people who are, like, just love wakeboarding and are pushing so hard in so many different ways to, like, help wakeboarding in Ontario and in Canada. So, yeah, good role models. And then the rite of passage of, like, you know, Derek always, like, lighting a fire under my butt to, like, get better and try. And, you know, he was always, like, big on, like, rewarding you for, like, working for the movie and, like helping for the movie, whether that was like your own part or just like supporting other people with filming or whatever it may be. But yeah, to like go from friend section to him asking me if I wanted to do a part for the second one, and then give me another part for the third one, and then, dude, like I didn't expect to get the ender in the last one, and that, I don't know, that just felt really cool to me. Felt like a rite of passage, like, and I owe a lot of that to them. So yeah, it's just been a really unique. I don't think there's lots of crews, don't get me wrong, but I don't think anyone quite exists quite like the Outhouse crew.
They don't, yeah. And I was going to ask you, like, how important is the crew to, you know, the local scene? And you kind of answered it. It's like, it's so important for the kids that are, you know, on the younger side of things to have something to aspire to, of like a full video part. Well, that's just cool. Like, I don't, you know, however they're consumed and distributed these days is like whatever, but the kid having a full video part is like, it's an important thing in your wakeboard career, whether you're a contest guy or you strictly just want to film, like, got a full part. Yeah.
Well, the importance of like local heroes. Like when I was young, like sure you had like the Doms and the Rafts and everything that I really look up to, but they weren't real to me yet. Raft's I guess a harder example because I met him a little bit younger. But still, like he was an action figure, you know? Like he wasn't, it's weird to get older and see your perspective change. But like, you know, when I was a kid, these guys were my main idols. They're the ones I saw at the contests and was involved with. And I feel like that's important. Like give these kids something to work towards. And from my perspective, you know, I'm in with the crew. So I hope that I'm saying this right, but like, I feel like they're really good. Like they don't just do the movies too. Like Brennan's Park, they've done like the Outhouse Invitational, you know, kind of bringing in an event aspect to like a team film crew.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've just, the whole crew, like, you know, I've been involved, but like, I just kind of work with them. Like, you know, Derek has asked for our opinions, but like, it's really like Derek and Brennan and Andy and them like really running it. And like, it's just really cool that all they've done. And, yeah, and I hope everyone feels like they're super welcoming because I know they want to be, and just like include everyone. And yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, I think if we had more crews like Outhouse, it would help, you know, a lot of people stay in wakeboarding a little bit longer, and
for sure,
it's a little bit more dynamic.
Well, if it's not a shocker to you, like some of the boys in Outhouse like barely ride anymore. It doesn't matter. You know, some of them are getting a bit older and sore bodies, or they're busy with like another passion, like a new career or whatever, like a new sport, whatever it may be. Like we don't care. Like as long like they're still involved with the crew, you can come hang out. You don't have to ride. Like it's about the whole vibe of like wake parks and everything. Like, and I feel like we had a really good thing going like back when I was really young, and then we lost it for a bit there, and I think now it's coming back.
A little resurgence.
So yeah, like just hang out. Like it's just a crew. It's like a big group of people who are all passionate about the same thing. And I think that's really neat.
So speaking of the Outhouse, Andy Oak, he's got a question for you.
Papa Andy.
Go ahead and play that here.
Hey, Hunter. Super stoked you have Riley with you today. Hey, son.
Hey.
Can't wait to hear most of the stories I already know, but I'm sure there'll still be some I don't. Got a couple questions to ask you. First, Outhouse premiere at Elevated. How many times did you change outfits and why? Sorry about that. Second, I've driven the cable for you for years, watching you battle to land a new trick for hours or even sometimes a full day. Even if it looks clean to me, it's not perfect for you. Walk us through your whole process of planning the trick, battling it, then stomping it clean. What goes through that head of yours? Excited to listen. Love you, buddy. Have fun.
Legend Andy Oak there.
Oh, man.
So a little two-parter. So first
Man, that
part.
one warmed my heart, man. I could talk about Andy forever. Okay, I got a little too in the feels there. What was the first part?
The outfit.
The outfit.
Changing the outfits.
What an asshole. That was so funny, though. Okay, so the boys like to get a little rowdy. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
This. The boys can drink. And when they get a little rowdy, they like to be dicks in the best way. And so people were like ripping each other's shirts off. So anyway, let's back up a little bit. Team trips. Pull up in Andy's RV. We got packed RV. 10, 15 crazy Canadians. And we usually hit a Walmart, right? And we do an $1,000 grocery bill. That doesn't even fit. We have 8 coolers going because it doesn't fit in the fridge. And I think Andy said on his podcast, a lot of that is beer. So anyway, we're on this trip, and I don't know whose idea it was, so kudos to whoever's idea it was. But they're like, we should do team shirts for this premiere at Elevated. We're like, that's hilarious. So we ended up getting these kind of Hawaiian-y button-up shirts or whatever. So I think I started with that one on. It's a little fuzzy. We had a couple cold brewies that night. But I just kept getting beer dumped on me. And then I got to the point, the boys love to get under my skin. And I think I got there. They would chuck beer on me. I'd be soaked. And then I would be the first time I was like, ha ha ha, you got me good. Left it, got it again. And then, got taken away and then got changed, came back, same shit. I was like, you dickheads. And I think one shirt was ripped off of me.
They're getting after it tonight.
Oh, dude. Oh, they're getting after it. I mean, I was involved in the process, so I can't, no blames. But yeah, dude. And you could see Andy. I remember looking at me and be like, ooh, I might have gone too far. And it was all in good fun though. But yeah, I think I ruined every shirt I had on that trip. Yeah.
Probably not a lot of laundry getting done either, on a wake trip.
Dude.
So
some of these guys don't shower. You think they're doing laundry?
Well, you don't need to shower on a wake trip because you're getting wet.
Because you're getting wet.
You're getting wet.
And you can shower in the lake if you want.
Yeah, exactly. A little soap. You're totally fine.
A little Irish Springs and a little water there.
So second part of that question.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more technical, a little bit more serious. Kind of what's your process of landing a trick and getting it dialed to the point of which you are satisfied with it?
That's a really neat one. That's someone that a few boys from the ranch would always ask me and were fascinated by how I approached things, which I thought was kind of cool because a lot of people maybe don't see that part of me. Like Austin Farr, he would always pick my brain about this. I have a unique approach, and I learned that young. I'm ballsy, but I'm calculated. I've always been a big thinker. I live in my head for sure. And throughout my years, I've grown and I've learned how to learn with that and learn to lean in to my qualities and what makes me who I am. I definitely struggled for a little while, but how that came out in my wakeboarding was that I could be incredibly creative, analytical, and methodical in my own brain. So I was good at visualization. I was good at making myself a plan. I was like a school kid. I was good at getting a project, knowing what I got to do, talking about how I'm going to do it, knowing what could happen that I might mess up so that I can try to avoid it. Or what if it does? What can I do? So just setting yourself up for the best success. And I think I brought that to everything I did in life, and especially wakeboarding. So with that approach, I'm Sendy. I think some people would call me that. But I'm not, I'm thoughtful. I'm calculated. So if I know I want to do a big trick, I do. I do everything I can to make sure I have the prerequisites to know I'm ready. Because for me, it's like a confidence thing. I don't want to huck and pray. That's so stupid to me. What, you're an athlete? People are going to want to pay you and you're hucking and praying and might be out for a year because you did something stupid you didn't think? Like, that just hasn't worked for me, and I can't get myself to... When I was young, I used to get angry at myself because I was like, why am I being such a pussy? Like, why can't I try this trick? And then once I learned about it, I ended up actually, like, Elliot from snowboarding, he, like, sent me to a sports psychologist because he thought I could, like, talk through some of that with them. And she helped me, like, realize that, like, she's like, this is a gift. This isn't bad. And she was like, you just need to flip your frame of reference. She's like, what I'm hearing is that you're like, you just need more. So as soon as I realized that, I ran with it. So of course I'm scared. Everyone's scared when you're learning a new trick. But if I can check off all those boxes, I can send it and usually land it like first try. So I've had a lot of times like that. You know, my 2-hour battle, but it took 4 tries. But I just had to build my way up to it. And I think from an outside perspective, and I've gotten so much flack from people who don't understand how I operate, and seeing it. But I've learned to deal with that and know that this is just how I operate. And sometimes I'm just going to the beat of my own drum. And I've gotten way better at just sending. Like, my process used to be this long. Now it's like, you know, this long.
Yeah.
So it's growth. And there was definitely a part of it too that was like learning when I am ready and I'm just now scared. Like, knowing to identify, like, okay, you've checked all the boxes. You have visualized how you want to do it. You know what you're going to see when you're in the air. You know how you want to pull. You know how you want to cut. You know what you're going to do. You're ready. You've done the setup tricks. You're good. You know how the jump feels. Like, I've checked off all the boxes. Why haven't I tried it yet? Because I'm being a bitch. Okay. Take a quick breath for yourself. Acknowledge that
That's the reason.
Yeah. And now grow some balls. Now I'm better at that. And once I acknowledged that, it became like my superpower.
Because you can get lost in because I agree with what you're saying is you do the stepping stones. You're like, okay, I need to do this trick. I need to learn this trick first. Stomp it. Next, work up. But you can find yourself, because I've done it before. Where
For
it's
sure.
Like, well, no, I need to just get a little bit better, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And
Exactly.
It's like, no, I'm trying a 7. I just did a 3. I just did a 5. Okay, now I'm going back down to a 3 to do the landing. That's the same as a 7. Okay, now I just need to go back to a 7.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. So it's like,
And that's why it's important to define when you're making excuses or when you're making a valid concern.
yeah.
And if you need to you need to take a really non-biased look at your life to be able to like know that, because it's really easy to go the easy route and just like not be like, oh, I'm not ready. But like a lot of times you are. And I feel like that's something I'm even still constantly still working on to this day, but it's something I've gotten even better at. And like a lot of times now, you know, it depends on the trick too. Some tricks make you more scared than others. But yeah, so because of that, like sometimes my filming maybe takes longer than I want, but it's part of the process. And I love it, dude. I love it. And to answer Andy's question too, like, I like perfection. Perfection isn't possible. It doesn't exist. But I like to get as close as I can because it feels good. And for me, that one, this is really ironic actually, because that one isn't about a check mark. The like perfection part, the like how I completed the trick or anything. It's about how it felt. Because what I can do is I'm very analytical. Like, okay, I'm ready. Turn my brain off. Just do it. Just like, but be in the moment. Like, be aware. Don't just like huck and close your eyes and tense up. Like, the whole point of doing that is so you can go into the trick with confidence, so you don't get hurt. So that if you get in a bad situation, you have built this through years and years. You have the muscle memory. You have the reaction skills to just like attack and save yourself, or to rescue the trick. Like, you know, some tricks you land and you're like, how the hell did I put that off? And I got a clip. That's sick.
Yeah.
And some tricks, it takes 17 years. But the feel good part Andy's talking about, like, I think he might be referencing a whole bunch of things, but like free agent, like I've done a couple tricks like 10 times, but it just wasn't right. I don't know why. It just didn't feel good. I didn't even want to see it on camera.
Because you
just know, like, it's not what I wanted to do. And you know, sometimes I let it go. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm far from it. And sometimes it's not worth the battle again. Sometimes it's like, okay, you landed the trick. You did it like 80% as good as you wanted to. Is it worth going out there and ruining your body again, potentially getting hurt when you already got the clip? So like that's when I'd maybe go look at the camera. And that's why, especially for free agent, I surrounded myself with a crew that I trust and that can tell me, like, isn't afraid to talk up to me and be like, you zeeched that, or you didn't tee it, or, do it again. Like, I want to be told that. If you really think that and you have a reason for it, tell me. But yeah, I think that's what Andy's referencing. And you're like, oh, like that's, but it's always funny because I've had people be like, yeah, dude, they're like freaking out. I'm like, run it back. Like, no emotion. Just like, I just landed the trick for the first time. I've been battling for 2 hours. I'm not even stoked because I didn't do it. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. And then, so I think that's maybe what Andy's talking about. But yeah, not everyone gets it. Some people might not even get it after me explaining it. But that's okay. It's what works for me. And I'm constantly working on, I always like to push the envelope. I always like to just do the best I can to understand myself, how I operate, and lean into it, because that's who you are and that's how you operate. And you can change some things, you can improve, but it's who you are. So just wanted to lean into that. And there's a quote I know my mom used to tell me that kind of relates to this. This kind of transcends back to snowboarding, but it can apply to this as well. But my mom, like I said at the beginning, was a little bit of the scaredy cat with her little kid going off 70-foot booters and doing crazy stuff, and the slams would scare her and everything. But I don't know. I think we had like the pediatrician or something random, and she was like saying how it's like a pretty iconic story. She was saying like, oh, my kid just always runs, jumps, he always scares the crap out of me. Like I think he's just going way outside of his comfort zone. Like he's an adrenaline junkie. And then I would have been like 5 or something. And then the doctor asked her, has he ever been to the ER? No. Has he ever broken a bone? No. Has he ever needed surgery? Stitches? No. She was like, so maybe it's out of your comfort zone, not his.
That's a good point.
I feel like that's like, I know when I'm ready for something, you don't.
Yeah.
So if I trust you and I know you and I think you're an educated person and you've seen, like, I'll listen to you and take your point into account. But like, when I'm filming a trick, it doesn't really matter to me if I need to take 5 extra laps before I try the trick, if you're not even filming yet. I've had to learn how to like, I've gotten feedback before of like, don't do some of this process when the guy's filming, because like you're wasting their time.
Yeah.
And I think that's a valid point. And it's really important that when people are sacrificing their time for you, you want to make sure you're working for them and like you're not making them waste their time.
Yeah,
so,
you don't want to have a guy sit on the shore filming the entire process of you learning
exactly.
a trick. Do the trick you know how to do for the film, and then if you want to film something you don't know how to do, well, go learn it first and then come back and do a shortened version of the process.
Exactly. So like I'm not perfect. Like I've had to learn a lot of things along the way to make this kind of thing work for me. So now like with, something like the latest video, they'd be like, we'd all be there, or they might not be there yet, whatever. And I'd be like, I'm guessing I need 15 minutes. Like chill, do whatever you want, get the cameras ready. Like just do your thing. Don't, just relax.
Yeah.
I don't want you to film yet. And then I get to the point that I'm ready, camera comes out, let's go. So again, try to just.
It's a good bit of advice, I think, for a lot of people filming stuff out there. Is like it's
is.
not as easy as just, I mean, it can be, I guess, for some people, but it's not as easy as just show up, film, and then you come up with some tricks you want to do, film them. Well, then it doesn't go that well. You're zeeching them. You're not doing them well. Like, do the tricks you know how to do. Go through the process. Yeah. And if you're not ready to film yet, don't start filming, because you're just a waste of time.
And also, like, there's lots of cool people to film with, and I love filming with different people for different reasons. But like when you're filming something, especially when it's really scary, like make sure you're filming with someone that you trust, and you like it. It makes it a little easier. Like you have a bit of a team with you. Like you're not alone in this endeavor. Like you got someone in the battlefield with you. Like, because sometimes like it sounds so dramatic, but sometimes in the heat of that battle, like it does feel like all or nothing. Like I don't know, and I get deep into the battle. I love the battle.
Love it. We got a couple questions from Drew Austin.
Drewby.
So who is Drew Austin? If you want to run us through that real quick.
Drew Austin is a beautiful man. If you don't know Drew Austin, he's He's a wakeboarder. Could have been probably one of the best in the world, again, if he wanted it. But, man, what an incredible dude. He spent a lot of time in Australia, a lot of time in Asia. He actually filmed, he was like the main filmer at TWC back in like the heyday. It's like he filmed like all of the boys. Like, I don't know if you remember those video series on Vimeo that were like the off season and like, I don't even know, I can't remember what they were called, but like all the boys, like all the pro boys you can think of from back in the day, he filmed them. Did a lot with Ben, like, yeah, it's just really cool. Did a ton with Derry, obviously. But yeah, Drew himself is an amazing cinematographer and photographer. That's his full-time job. He does anything from weddings. He's working on a huge project right now with a big outerwear brand, doing like a documentary. That's even, like, it's like an outerwear brand, ski brand, snowboard brand, backcountry kind of documentary. Does a lot of really cool stuff. Lives out in Tofino now. But Drew, back when I knew him, like when we first met, Drew was a wakeboarder, worked at the Ranch Wake Park. And the very first day I went to the cable, first day wakeboarding, I walked in, Drew was working. Braden Yoy was working, a wake skater that you've probably never heard of that would blow your mind. Like Austin Farr level, like insane. Just, again, maybe didn't want it, maybe, who knows, just maybe wasn't getting what he deserved. But anyway, the whole crew was there. Scotty Boyson, like everyone was kind of there that day. It's really interesting that they were all there that day, but met them all. And I don't exactly remember how it transpired, but Drew and I hit it off. And I liked the way he thought. I liked the way he talked. He was my idol. He was so good. His style was like, I feel like it was before his time in a way. Like he was doing things like, I'm a snowboarder. I appreciated like snowboard style and like steez, and I just feel like he was the epitome of that. And he was so good. But anyway, he took me under his wing and would pull me all the time, coach me, never ask for anything in return. Coach me. He would like refer to himself as Riley Dillon's coach. Like it wasn't like a legit, like wasn't like a legit like sponsorship contract coach guy deal. It was just like, it just felt like an older brother.
Yeah.
And my brother wasn't interested in the same sports as I was. My brother's an incredible guy, but to have like an older brother that like in the wakeboard world was like really, really neat, because I had that in snowboarding, but I got that right away in wakeboarding with Drew. So yeah, Drew took me under his wing. He coached me through so many things. The big thing we connected with is he helped me a lot with my brain because we had the same brain. He thought the same way. He analyzed things the exact same way. It's why he was such a good coach, because he would break down, and he kind of taught me that process that I was talking about earlier, because it's how he approached things. And I think he saw really early that it worked for me. But Drew and I had this really interesting relationship, because Drew would never tell me just to do something. If Drew told me to try it, he meant I'm going to land it first try. And a lot of times I did. So we had this really trust relationship that he would help me. And he helped me off the water too, how to be a good person. I don't know. He just made a super big impact in my early years.
Huge guy.
Yeah.
So he's got a question for you.
Sure.
More of a lighthearted one, but he's going, when did you know that your coach was washed up and you could beat him in contests?
When he started pretending about his knee problems.
That's a classic wakeboarder move, dude.
And his back pain that he never addresses. No, I'm just pulling this chain. But he does like to complain about his knee problems, and I believe him. If he tells me it's real, then it's real. But I just think he doesn't wakeboard as much as he should, and maybe he just fell in love with it.
Get back out on the water, man.
Get back out on the water, dude. We love you. We miss you.
Dude.
No, I'm just teasing though. When did I know that my coach was washed up? Dude, he's not washed up. He can still go out there and shred. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. He pretends to be this.
He's
like,
being a little humble, dude.
He's being a little humble. He pretends to be like he's not good at this stuff. He could still go out there and put on a clinic. But I remember, I think the best thing I can answer this is I remember when our relationship like shifted in a sense, not with how we were with each other, just I was always like the little kid he was just super proud of and like would help with anything and everything. And I remember one year it just kind of shifted and he was a little intimidated. Like I could tell. And he started saying to me, he's like, damn, I'm done. He's like, the kid that I supported, he's like going to go there and make me look bad. You know, he's like, and then I remember like going through runs and he was saying like, that's your run? Like, God damn it. If you land that, I'm screwed. So I don't think he ever got washed up. I think he just stopped riding as much and didn't put as much focus into that. But fair enough. He was passionate about cinematography and look at him now. So nothing.
And the kids, dude, the kids will always come up and before you know it,
Bite you in the bum.
bite you in the ass and they got tricks that you don't have. That's just is what it is, dude.
But yeah, and then I think the first time ever beating him was but I've still never seen anyone that proud.
Yeah.
And if I remember right, it was one that like he really tried. So it was like legit.
Yeah.
And I remember him like giving me a hug and like whispering some things in my ear and just being like, just proud. And still to this day, if I call that man, he's one of the hardest guys to reach, but if I call, he picks up. And if I don't, he gets back to me. Like, I don't know what it was about Drew and I. We just clicked and we've always clicked. We still keep in touch. Obviously, he's in Tofino. He's got his own life going on. He's busy. He's really busy. But we still find a way to connect. And he was a huge help. His name's in the end of Free Agent. He had nothing to do with Free Agent except picking up my FaceTime calls for editing questions or it was my first time trying something like this. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I drew on other people too, like Vince Whiteman, but Drew helped a lot with that. And I still, when I'm overwhelmed at a contest, I still call Drew to this day. Called him this summer. I can't remember I think 2 contests I called him. I can't remember which ones, but called him, was like, dude, my run's good, but I'm kind of stuck in a rut. I don't know why I can't seem to figure out what to do here and here, because I'm always super methodical with like spinning both ways, switching regular front board slides and front boards, back lips and switch back lips, right spins, left spins, switch flips, reg flip. Like I just like to do as much as I can, but I want it all to be super fluid.
Yeah.
Like, that's my main goal. And Drew sees it the same way, and he would just call me and give me ideas. And
You gotta have that second voice sometimes. You gotta
Second
have
voice,
a second
yeah.
opinion on it.
And I have different people, like Liam helps me with stuff like that, and like Derry's really helpful at contests with stuff like that, and obviously my international friends, Joe's been super helpful for that. Alfie's been super helpful for that. Rudy, like lots of people have been super helpful, but Drew is still that guy. It's like my safe place.
Yeah.
Sounds so funny, but
Well, everybody.
I got a man crush on Drew. Let's put it that way.
There you go, Drew. Add it,
Ow,
kid.
ow.
All right, we got a Patreon question from Austin Farr. You just dropped his name earlier.
Oh, no way.
He's wondering about space tapes because we were talking about videos a little bit, and he's wondering how did it feel to come in second place at space tapes as a massive underdog who had hardly sniffed a winch spot before that.
Such an Austin thing to say.
And then can we get an all winch Riley part? That second part, I endorse that.
I
second part of the
endorse that.
question.
We were literally talking winch talk before this pod started.
We were.
Wow, how'd that feel? That was wild, man. That was a really neat experience. That was a last minute decision. So yeah, our crew was. I want to make sure I hype up everyone here. Our crew was me, Liam Brearley, Jesse Jared, Austin Farr. So we had me and Liam, who had the same trajectory, contest boys, some filming, pretty on par with each other, like always that competitive rivalry brother relationship, best friends. And then Jesse, who grew up with us too, but was more of a street guy, was really involved with dairy, and was really loved the streets, passionate about videography, shot on one of those bad boys there. Yeah, he was just super passionate. And then Stan, one of the most unique wake skaters I've ever met, and one of the most talented human beings I've ever met. And I don't remember how our squad came to be. I think it was kind of Jesse's vision. I think he'd been kind of like waiting for something like this. I think Jesse kind of approached us, if I remember right. It's funny. I wish I could remember like all these stories, like exactly how they went down. But anyway, our crew came to be, and we talked about kind of what we wanted it to look like. We had a bit of like a team meeting, and it was really important to Jesse that it was like a majority winch project.
Oh yeah.
And me and Liam's just eyes lit up because we've gotten so much flack before this about like, why do you never winch? Why do you never winch? But like, man, it's hard when you don't get invited. Like, I hate to break it to you, but like I get invited now. But back in those days, like me and Liam weren't getting invites from Derry to go winching, like, or Raf, or who else was winching. Like,
I mean, not a lot of people winch first off. So like,
yeah, so it's a challenging thing, and it's no harm to Derry. He's invited me many times since, but we weren't ready. We were young kids, like,
well, and they're trying to stack clips too,
and
so
they're
it's
trying
like,
to stack clips. It's not like it's a different environment.
Yeah.
And I just feel like we didn't have the access, and I think we'd always wanted to. And I remember Liam and I talking and being like, everyone's being like, "Oh, you never winched before," or like this is gonna be interesting. Kind of like feeling like a little bit of a negative connotation. And I think Liam and I were both like, I think we're gonna surprise them. Like we were definitely a little overconfident. Like we didn't know what we were getting ourselves in for, but we were ready for it. And we just like, I could tell Liam and I were just like excited. And Stan too. Stan hadn't done a ton. He'd been more than us, but not a ton. But like Jesse was so experienced. So I think Liam and I were just excited to be involved in the whole process. I was stoked to hold a camera. I loved learning how to use Jesse's camera, especially fisheye. And just like a crew, and we did it like a month straight. Like it was like a full-time job. So it was just a really neat, like it was hard with scheduling, and like it was the first kind of experience I had that with like a team project, and it was really neat. And we wanted to make sure, like I wanted to make sure I shined, but I equally wanted to make sure you shined. And like I felt just as stressed filming you when you were doing something gnarly than I felt trying to do my own tricks. So it was just really cool, and we all worked super hard. I want to give an extra big shout out to Jesse because, you know, he's probably like team captain. He had the knowledge. He had the winch. His dad was a huge help. Steve Jared, shout out, Wake Canada. And he kind of volunteered some spots for us. Derry came in and supported us. Brennan supported us with helping us with some spots. Like Derry was hitting a spot for, I think, Coalition, and we hit it for Space Tapes as well. So yeah, just a lot of people stepped up to support us too. So that was really nice. And the best part about it all is we had no expectations. We wanted to do unique stuff. We didn't want to do contest stuff. We wanted to just take a different take on it. All winch. If we did kicker stuff, like I did a freaking cab roll on it, but it was like a seatbelt cab roll snake bite. And we just messed around with it, and I think the only other thing out of cable I did was like that big barge hit, or like the jumping tower closeout.
Yep.
But it was
yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
it was
okay.
just mainly just winch, and
Yeah.
it was such a fun process. And it was I think also what made it more surreal is we worked so hard for it, and Jesse edited it too. So like kudos, man. I remember watching all the parts and being like, because we were fired up on what we produced, but I don't know how the other boys are feeling, but like I had no idea what everyone else did. It was so exciting to sit down and watch what everyone else did. I didn't care. I was proud of what we produced. We worked hard. I thought we all shined equally, which I think is important in a team video. And I was just excited to see what everyone else produced and wherever we ended up. And I remember watching all the videos and being like super hyped on some of them, like so sick. But I remember coming to the end and being like, holy shit, like it kind of feels like we fit in here. Like just being like, I didn't expect anything. Like I started to be like, oh my God, like maybe we could do this. Like maybe we got something here. And then to hear the second place, like it was just really, really cool. It was, it was really good. I felt like we dove into the deep end of learning what it is to winch, how hard it is to find spots, getting kicked out, where to set the pulley, how to make sure the winch is in the right spot, how to coil it properly.
So winching.
Just like winching, yeah.
When are we going to get a full Riley Dillon winch part?
Hopefully as soon as possible. I was telling you.
ASAP, okay.
ASAP. Dude, I've been, like, it's not a lack of want. It's been, but obviously I'm a believer that, like, if you want something, you'll figure out a way to make it happen. And that's what free agent was. But and I wanted to do more in free agent, but just some reasons came up that it didn't work out. But I did want to do more. But yeah, I'm in the market for a winch.
Could you say it's in the plans? It's in the works?
Oh, 100%,
Okay. All right.
dude. 100%. I got a bunch of stuff in the works.
Okay. All right.
Some in the works, some in the slow cooker. Let's call it that.
Okay. I like that. Slow cooker.
Yeah, slow
You toss
cooker.
it in, you turn it up a little
turn it
bit.
in,
You let it
and
bake.
you're gonna wait a little while. You're gonna make sure it's right, make sure it's seasoned right. But when it comes, I hope it's gonna be good.
Okay. I like that.
So it is coming, but hey, I'll take this opportunity, self thing here. Shout out Rewinch, shout out Moto Winch, shout out Sculpture. Your boy's trying to winch. Help me out, please. I don't know if I can afford one new, but I want to support you guys.
There is a used Rewinch market on Facebook.
Is there?
So
I've tried.
It's the Rewinch like Facebook group. People sell them in there for quite a bit cheaper. So
That's really
that's
good
where
to know.
that's where Gibby got his. It was like a lot cheaper than a new one. So
Dude, that is really helpful.
I'll shoot you that
I've
link.
checked eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, everything. I've even like switched my regions.
No, you got to join the group.
Yeah, I didn't know about the group.
So the group, yeah.
I wasn't in the know. Now
Yeah.
I am.
So
But no, yeah. But I would love to get a winch. I got a really good crew of people at home and abroad that would be sick, and I just think would open up so many doors. So
winching is sick. So
yeah.
let's
And we got a project on the slow kicker too.
okay.
So.
I like that. Keep the content coming. Free agent. It's a good time to talk about it.
Sure.
Why did you decide to film this video?
Passion, being fed up, proving that I could do this. Literally, I had one of the best years of my life, but also very tough in a lot of ways. And a lot of things changed, sponsorship wise. And I felt like I was trying really hard in so many facets, giving back to the community in every way I could, at least trying to my best, while maintaining, contests, trying to film for social media. I'm in school. I've been going through it. I've tried to keep school under wraps for a long time. I didn't want people to know. I don't know why I saw it as a negative, that like people would see it as like taking away all my time, but I've kept it really quiet. There's still people that like don't know I'm in school. It's kind
I
of
didn't know.
Exactly. It's funny. But yeah, so lots of things going on, but still one of my best years, one of my most enjoyable years. And, decided to invest in going to Europe and everything and just give this a real shot. And I was really happy with how it went. There were ups and downs part of a year. But there were some really high highs and it was sick. And I felt like sponsorship wise, it was just like going backwards. And throughout my travels and stuff, I was talking and meeting people and networking and making new relationships, and man, so much stigma against Canada. It's too cold. You guys even wakeboard there, and like I don't know, seeing Canada as this like huge negative. Like, oh, like Riley would be like really good and make it, but like he's from Canada, so it's just like not gonna work. I'm like, I'm in Europe right now. Like I'm trying. Like, and I'm sure other people have felt that. I know Derry's felt similar things. But like I didn't understand. And it's not everyone. Some people see it as a positive, but like people are like, oh, the market's too small. I talk about that in Free Agent. I could go on and on about this, but like I felt like I've always been someone that I don't want to just get things handed to me. It doesn't feel like I earned it. And I hadn't done an edit solo. I've been doing outhouses and filming with that and everything. And now I loved that. But that's not all me, It's more of the team, and Derek's editing and Derek's filming, and he did an amazing job. I love those videos so much, but I hadn't really done anything like on my own. Like
Completely own it myself. 100%.
Send the baby out of the house and see what he's got. And I just felt like I could do it. And dude, I just felt a wave of like motivation come over me to like push me to do this. And I thought about it for a long time, started thinking about it while I was in Europe. And then I was like, how is this going to happen? Like, I don't have a team. I don't have the right camera equipment. I don't have, am I going to winch? Where am I going to get the winch? like who's going to pull me, who's going to fly, who's going to film, like who's going to drive, can I do morning sessions? Like it was a whole slew of like how am I going to make it? And again, I attacked it, how I attacked everything else. I kept it quiet. I did it by myself. I reached out to the right people who I knew were just as motivated to me to do this. So I built a team. And thank you to everybody involved in that for taking a shot with me. I know some of the parks, like Rail Yard and Bluestone, they gave me free riding, free access, pretty much keys to the cable to do whatever I needed to do. And, especially like Andy, appreciate his support too, but, he kind of understood it a bit more. But like the Rail Yard guys, like they're a new family who took over this business. Their son, Nick, he was super on board, but like I needed the parents to be on board too. So we had like a good meeting, a good conversation. I explained to them the vision, the goal. I explained to them I wanted this to be like really valuable for them too. I was trying to explain to them like, yes, this is a solo edit, but I'm like, my whole goal is this has a broader impact. Like I wanted it to be for me and my career and open up opportunities and show what I'm capable of, while also showcasing what Canada has to offer, all the amazing people involved in it, and just give back to the community while progressing my own career. So thank you for them for like giving me that full range, because I need, like, that was going to be super important to do this right, because I needed time. It was a lot of riding. So covered those bases. And it was like, okay, enter Kenneth Cumey, a longtime childhood friend, super passionate, doesn't know a thing or two about filming, but kind of taught him everything I know, which isn't a lot. We learned together, taught him how to use my camera, bought a camera from a friend, Paul Reed. And basically the plan was to, the mock plan was to make a video highlighting the wake community, the wake culture, while winching and showcasing Canadian parks, Canadian only, nothing out of Ontario, and hopefully get some winching in and focus on doing style, tech, and creativity. That was kind of my goal. Have a monologue. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I was kind of like fake storyboarding it, but also I realized through this process, like you can plan as much as you got, but you got to just like start going, and it kind of helps build itself along the way. So that was kind of the plan. Kenneth was down. He had just quit his job. He was in between, and he was going to be starting school again later. And he basically was like, dude, this is what I've been waiting for you. Like, I'm here. I'm yours. Like, I'll help whenever I can. So 2 guys that barely know how to use a camera, just trying to tackle.
Yeah, just point, shoot, hit record.
And I tried to learn so much. I was on so many phone calls, so many videos, because I wanted it to be like cinematic too, as best as I could. I wanted it to be like a legit video. I didn't want it to look like a high school kid made it, Like, and I hope that came across. Try my best. We'll do better and better next time. But Kenneth was a huge help. And basically the plan was tripod angle and handheld angle. That was going to be the video. And then ideally do it again and get a third angle. I was like 3 angles every trick, because all the videos I love, that's how they do it. And right away, Jordan Sullivan kind of came on too. He was like doing a lot of the like driving of the cable for me, and we kind of had a trade off. Like he would pull for me, and then I'd film him, and help him with some editing and things like that. So it was great there. And then Jordan was driving and working there. He's the manager at the rail yard, and he had someone named Matt Bujak came in, and they were talking. Matt, I guess, was talking about me, saying like, "Oh, I would like love to be able to film Riley someday." And he's a camera operator; it's a full-time job. Like, works on movie sets, and he's mainly a drone op, but also does some camera op. And Jordan was like, "Well, like Riley's like, it's pretty hush hush right now, but like Riley's working on a big project, and like he would be probably so stoked to have some drone in it." So Jordan gave him my number, and he texted me. And Jordan like sent me a text like, "Hey man, this guy's reaching out to you." But he didn't explain any of that. He just said, "Hey, this guy that I know back from snowboarding, used to be a really good snowboarder, said he might be interested in flying some drone for you." And then he texted me, seemed like such a nice guy. I was like, dude, 100%. Like, I didn't know if this guy was fucking shit or if he was really good at what he does, but I didn't care. I was like, this guy is stoked and wants to come help. And that's all I could ever ask for.
Yeah.
Like, and thank you. Like, come out. I don't care if you're good. I can do some editing magic. Like,
People come out of the woodwork.
yeah, people just came, and it was just, I don't know. It kind of showed me, like, when you really just like put yourself out there and you're like really chasing something, like people kind of,
If you go all in, people are going to help out a little bit.
people acknowledge that and like want to help
They like
you make your dream.
Yeah.
So he came out the next day. We shot some drone. We did one trick. Like, most sessions were like a trick or two. Some were better than others. And dude, ended up figuring out he was not just a good snowboarder. He was an insanely good snowboarder. And we've competed against each other back when I was like 10.
Small world.
Yeah, insane. Like, dude, he was so good. I remember him too. Like, he won, like, there was this Quicksilver download that was at the end at Mount St. Louis Moonstone. And they would like reconfigure the whole Outback Terrain Park, which was like an X Games level like park back in the day when we had snow. Well, thanks, Mother Nature. Yeah, he was so good, and we like connected over that and rebonded. And dude, he was just so stoked. He loved my vision, walked him through everything. He loved what I was doing. He loved how passionate I was for it, and we just kind of connected. And he's just like a really passionate man, and like it's just frothed wakeboarding. And he had the snowboard approach too, so we connected over that, and he could just visualize it. And he knows what was good and what he wanted. He cared about the angles. So he helped me with learning my camera even more too. And anyway, so we finished that day. And I was like, dude, like, that was like, thank you so much. Like, it's going to be sick to have a drone clip in my part. And he was basically like, I don't want to stop. Like, what do you mean you're filming a part?
You can't just have one drone clip.
Can't just have one drone clip in the part. And I was
Yeah.
like, and I just had an open talk with him. I was like, dude, like, the whole point of the situation is like, I don't have a lot of support right now. Like, I can't afford to pay you. I can't ask you to volunteer your time for me. Like, and he was like, you're not asking, basically. Like,
I'm offering.
I'm offering.
Yeah.
So I did my best to like try and help him with some little things to make it possible. But like, dude, he has kids and a wife, and was like taking time to like, and luckily his schedule with how the industry he works in is kind of like on for 2 weeks, off till a new job comes. So like, he has the flexibility. And when he did, there was a couple times where would get a job and he'd be MIA for a little bit, but he'd come back. And it was crazy. He just became part of the crew.
I love guys like that, dude, that just, they love it and they don't expect anything back from it. It's
no,
just
and I think
importing,
it's
that's
really
so cool.
special too, because something that he's done for me is like, now I will do everything I can to continually give back to him. And,
Yeah.
And like, if I get something, I want to share it with the people that matter to me and have made an impact and made it possible. So like, Matt, like, expect, like, and we have plans together and we're going to keep working together. And he was just such a big impact on that project for me. And it just meant so much to me in a time where I was just trying to chase this dream and didn't know if it was going to happen. And,
Yeah.
And dude, I would literally, I filmed, Kenneth filmed, and also Mill came onto the project mid-project too. Shout out Mill. She put in such a hard work ethic too. And, coming into a sport that you don't really understand, like, she just adapted, just loved to be part of the process, loved to learn the camera, was so supportive. Like, and that was kind of our crew. And then Andy and Nick. And then Vince came on to help with the intro. He filmed that really cinematic intro.
That was a good intro. I liked it.
Thanks.
So, okay. Speaking of, I didn't really intro this well, but Free Agent was the most recent video that you've released. So why is it called Free Agent? And what kind of free agent are you? Because there's different kinds of free agents. We got restricted free agents. We've got unrestricted free agents. We've got.
I love that you asked that, because Vince wanted unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, you at UFA or what? I mean, what's going on?
Vince said we should call it UFA, so it's not like in your face. And if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Then you know.
But
if
Riley
you
Dillon
don't-
said no. We're going free agent.
I just wanted to be really fucking clear,
So why'd you call it free agent?
because I had, again, going back to MERD, to the growth, to the national distributor, to the growth to international distributors and the international side. Ronix was with me every step of the way, and I'm so thankful for that entire, like, they gave me a chance when I was young through Andrew, and I grew up through the ranks. So like I really appreciate that whole chapter in my life. But that chapter came to a close for me. And I wanted to look for other things, and just the relationship wasn't working. Maybe on both our parts too. But I decided that the deal that was on the table wasn't going to work. And just wanted to go my own way, and got questioned because like didn't have another plan. Morals are super important to me. Like I'm not going to go shopping while I'm like representing someone. I don't know. Like obviously you got to look out for yourself, but
Yeah, I don't know if that's morally wrong at all.
well, you got to do it carefully is more what I mean.
You got to do it respectfully for sure.
Respectfully, but I more meant like I didn't want to just like keep the relationship going until it fizzles out while looking around. Like I was I was okay with just leaving without where I'm going next. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense.
So that relationship kind of ended, but I was still in Europe, and I basically was like, what do I do now? Like, I know I'm deserving. People tell me I'm deserving. Everyone's like, how did this happen? Everyone's like, how are you not getting picked up right now? But that's just like talk from the people. Like, that's like the riders and everything. That's not the industry people who make decisions. So how can I get in their brains and like show that I'm more than just a contest kid? And how can I shine a little bit of my personality through that maybe doesn't always come through like normally? So I got this idea for the edit, and I wanted to use it again as kind of like a sponsor me tape, but more than that. And that's where the free agent comes from.
So you spray painted on the board.
Yes.
Was that first try?
Yes, and I remember you commented on the
It's
video, sir.
It's impressive. I mean,
I
I've
will
spray
say-
painted boards. To get the spacing out right when you're spray painting on a board
tricky.
is not easy.
Okay, you want to know the thought process of this whole thing?
Yeah, you go from the middle on the outside.
No. So that board I focused on the chromo transfer. It's like the board break in the video. Like that's the board I used that I spray painted on.
Yeah.
And how it broke, it was like this like diagonal line. So I knew I wanted to do like free and agent because I had that like kind of middle spacing. I thought it'd be weird to go over that break line. So Vince happened to have. I wasn't even funny. I wasn't even stressing about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just write free agent on the board, whatever. Like Jordan's got some spray paint in his like wake skate designer container. I was like, oh, I'll just grab one of those things, spray paint it up, easy does it. And then I started stressing day of. I'm like, oh my God, I got the spacing right. I got to make sure it's legible. We've already said I maybe don't have the best handwriting. More of a typer myself. I can't really type spray paint, can you there, bud?
You can't stencil that unit. I mean, that's gonna look bad.
Oh, that's so lame too.
Yeah, it's super lame.
Someone gave that as an option. I was like, no, like freehand, baby.
Yeah, free agent. Come on.
Freehand, free agent. You gotta know about the theme. But Vince had like a little 2x4 in his truck, so I tried on one side and flipped it and tried on the other side because he said it was just like.
So you had some practice goes.
So I did have a practice go.
Okay.
Just to feel out the.
Well, you gotta make sure the paint's coming out.
Gotta make sure the paint. Yeah, like it would have sucked if we just didn't practice at all and you just like it just barely came out. It was like a dead paint. Like
Yeah.
So yeah, make sure just see how the flow goes. See how far I gotta be. Dude, the first two, it was not convincing though. Like they didn't look good on the 2x4. But Vince was like, "You got this. Just go slow." And Vince was getting all the angles. Like we were taking our time with it. I'd do like this line. He'd switch angles, and then I'd be like, "Oh, can we do this angle?" Like that was the whole thing too. It was so cool to I really felt like the director of this whole movie. Had support, and the boys gave me feedback. Like it's really cool that like I would listen to their feedback. But I really felt like with all the people involved, I could listen to their ideas and what they wanted, but they would listen to my response and take it seriously, and then we'd come to a mutual agreement. So it was really nice. But so free agent, first try on the board technically, but we went nice and slow.
So how are you approaching getting a board sponsor then, aside from filming an edit? What's the plan?
Good question.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. A couple different ways. So free agent was a lot of work, so I kind of wanted to just let the video speak for itself for a little bit. And I kind of wanted to have it kind of come out of nowhere and hopefully make an impact. Hope it did. And then the big thing is I want to take my time. I literally was on a Costco board, won a liquid force board, rode that for 2 years, and I've never rode anything other than aerobics ever since. And that relationship gave me a lot, but it's now ended. I don't really want that to happen again. What's really important to me is to be with a brand that understands what my goals are and knows that I understand what their goals are and helps educate me on what those goals are and understands that I know that my job is to make them money and their job is to support me in making the money. And I want a team aspect. I want to feel integrated. I want to feel that. And kind of what I told you earlier, like, I'm not just looking for, people have what they are, people do what they want to do, but like, I don't want just like a little paycheck to just get on another board and not feel part of the team and not feel integrated. I want to take my time. If it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. And I'm starting to be okay with that. It's not what I want. And it, might be hard to continue this, but I would rather like really try and see this out than just go with the first option. And I'm in no rush. I know what I want. I know what I'm capable of. I know
Slow
what I can
cooker.
offer. Slow cooker.
Let it cook slowly.
And I know what I'm capable of. And I have a notebook full of plans. And they haven't been possible yet. So if somebody wants me to open that book and walk them through it, I'm open to the conversation.
You got a little nugget you can throw out here from that notebook? You got something good?
Something good?
I mean,
well, to lead on earlier, Mr. Matthew and I have cooked up, I don't want to give too much, but we've cooked up a video idea and we're pitching it to someone. And if that goes well, it might come to fruition, and I'm pretty stoked on the video idea. So stay tuned for that.
okay.
It might not work. We need a yes in order for it to work. I can't tell you why.
You're building the hype on this one, building the suspense big time.
Well, I didn't do it with free agent, so why not start now, right? I built no hype with free agent other than some Instagram hype. But yeah, just like, and I just, like, I want a brand that can utilize me on and off the water. You can only wakeboard so long a day. And like, so many times I felt like I was, trying to do so much, but it wasn't working because it wasn't being allowed to work. So I just want to know how I can support, and I want to support the industry. I want to support the sport. And, like, it's not all about the money. The money helps make this possible. So I want a brand that sees and values me and takes me seriously. And I'm happy to wait and look for that. And I'm thankful. I've had some offers, and I had a big one that didn't work out.
A big offer?
Not a big offer, like one of the bigger brands. But it's also the worst time to be a free agent.
So I was going to kind of tell you that it's a bad time right now.
Man, if I could tell you how many people have told me, you are so good, I wish you were this 10 years ago. I'm like, I can't hear it anymore. I understand. It's a shitty situation. We're in a recession.
Yeah.
The industry is at an all-time low. A lot of brands made some bad decisions during COVID, and they haven't really recovered yet. And that's okay. Welcome to business. And it will, and we're all trying, and there's going to be changes, but that's okay. And I've been having a lot of conversations recently being like, obviously I don't have all the numbers. I don't know their business model perfectly, but seems to be a lot of these brands in these situations turn to a reactive approach instead of trying to be proactive to get out of a hole. And it's hard for me to understand that because it's just not how I see things. So I would love for a brand, even in a hard time, to reach out and be like, times are tough right now, but let's grow together. Like, I'm open to a conversation, but I need people to be in it for the right reasons. And I don't want to settle for anything less. And I'd rather keep wakeboarding without a career and not have obligations and ride whatever I want. And I'm interested. I care about wakeboarding. I'm interested to test out some different products, some different shapes, I rode the Kinetic for years. That's all I knew. I'm excited to just play around and see what I like, see what I don't like. You know, if the pro model comes around, know more of what I would want. You know, I think it's important, and I'm kind of trying to embrace this as an opportunity, not as a negative.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that's the best attitude to always approach everything you can is, you know, can I spin this into a positive? If I can, then just keep climbing up, baby.
Just keep climbing up, and it's okay, you know? So, yeah, but that's kind of where free agent came from, and I really hope it hit.
I think you're UFA, unrestricted free agent, is what it sounds like to me. To answer
UFA sounds pretty good.
It sounds pretty good, dude. Like that could be your, UFA. I like it. Is
that the pro model? Is that where you're going with that?
I was gonna say, but then I was like, well, that really wouldn't make sense as a pro model, but maybe it would.
That would be really funny, though.
UFA.
That would be pretty funny.
It'd have a story behind it.
It would.
Every good thing needs a story behind it.
It would.
You got a surprise for me or what? What's over there?
Oh. I love how I ruined the surprise. Guys, so basically Hunter and I wrote
Well, you told me to bring it up, so
I know. I told him to bring it up because I told him to bring it up. I was like, bring it up later in the podcast because I couldn't wait, and I showed it to him as soon as I saw him today.
Later, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm Canadian. Hunter.
If you couldn't tell by now, he's Canadian.
If you couldn't tell, you know later, bud. What's a Canadian's favorite thing?
Well, you know, I don't know. The easy answer would be maple syrup, but I think you guys like beer a lot.
We do.
I think you like whiskey a lot.
Oh, I do love
You like
whiskey.
hockey a lot.
We do.
You like saying a lot.
We love saying A. But I brought you maple syrup.
You like saying bud a lot.
But I was thinking, you know, nothing is like Canadian maple syrup, especially fresh. But what's even better is like, I feel like, I don't know this for sure, but I'm sure you can probably get like Canadian or Quebec maple syrup at certain stores here. So you might have had it before. But I was thinking you might not have had. This is a Canadian class.
I don't consume much, if any, maple syrup. So
Okay, well, welcome. This is a classic Canadian maple syrup lollipop. 100% maple syrup. Canadian raised, baby.
it's authentic right here.
So authentic. I got it from an authentic store.
It says 100% right on there. He's not lying.
100%.
And it's half in French Canadian or French or whatever you call that. So
Yep.
wow.
Whatever you call that.
I mean, I don't know what the official language is.
French.
Wow, it looks like a pot leaf. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's a maple leaf, but they could be.
I guess maybe it's
could be
the
a little
color.
similar.
I'm colorblind. I love that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, dude. I had to bring you a little something.
Oh, that I much appreciate it. I love that. I think we talk about the future
Sure.
a little bit, and then we wrap it up and get to the Patreon questions, which the Patreon questions will go live on YouTube the Sunday following when this episode releases. So
Cool.
make sure to tune in for that. It goes live on Patreon the day after the episode releases. So if you a little perk there for being on the Patreon, get them a little early, but I just wanted to make everyone aware of that. I'll say that on the episodes from here on out. Let's talk future, Riley. So,
Yeah.
you know, what gets you hyped on wakeboarding right now?
What gets me hyped? Well, we've touched on some of it. What gets me hyped is that I really feel like there's no rules right now. If you want to be a contest guy, you can be a contest guy. If you want to be a street guy, if you want to be a street guy. If you want to be a boat guy, be a boat guy. If you want to do all of them, that's great. Like, everyone can do what they want, and I feel like people are getting, like, finding their lane and what really, like, what they enjoy, and I love watching people passionate and do what they like. Like, I don't want to see someone forcing to ride boat if they don't want to ride boat, or forcing to ride cable if they don't want to ride cable. Like, it's supposed to be fun. So it gets me hyped that people can just kind of do it. People are more okay with people just doing what makes them stoked. And I like that. I also love the type of riding that's happening right now. It's maybe a hot take, but I do like the tech. I respect tech. It's technical. But I like that, can't speak for everyone, but I like that people are putting an emphasis on making it look good. And that's cool. Like, it doesn't feel, sometimes it does, but sometimes I'm like, it's not really spin to win if you're putting this much thought into making it look that good, but then still being able to appreciate a good nose press. So I think I love that. I love watching people press their board. I love watching people grab their board, because grabs do matter.
You're preaching to the choir right now. Big fan of wake tech, huh?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I think I'm a snowboarder at heart, and when you add a handle to on wakeboarding, like it opens up more doors. You have something to pull on to, so like I feel like it opens up. It can help. It separates us. It's the differentiating factor. And we're just on melted water,
Or they're on frozen water.
or they're on frozen water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess same.
6 1/2 times than the other.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's cool to be technical. I think it's, lean into what separates us, and that's why rewinds are cool. And that's why, like, speaking of like Stan, Grandel. You know what a Grandel is?
No.
A grab with the handle.
What's that mean?
Like you grab like truck driver, like Melon and Indy, but you have the handle like in your hand.
I'm not sure if I'm on board with letting that catch on as Grandel.
Hey,
Is that official term?
It's Stan official term.
Is it really?
It's his term. It's what he calls it. I don't know if it's real.
Who?
Austin Farr.
Oh, see, I can't get the nickname of a guy. I don't know.
Sorry.
That's his. Okay, I mean, Grandel. Okay,
Grandel.
Let me think about that one.
Yeah, you think about it. But yeah, no, I think that's kind of sums up what gets me stoked right now.
That's a lot. That's yeah.
I also love that on the contest side, because big part of me is people are taking it like seriously. Like people are working to give the best show, to be consistent, to be everything, and like, I think there's a lot of problems in wakeboarding right now. There's a lot of great things, but there's also a lot of problems, and having really good riding is a really good first step to pleasing a crowd and moving forward and growing the sport. So I really appreciate that, and I want to see wakeboarding follow the same path as the development surfing had and skateboarding had and snowboarding had, and I truly think we will. And I think that's a really good stepping stone. So I like that we're working towards some of these things.
I like that, taking contests seriously. I mean, if you're gonna do a MF in contest, take it seriously.
Yeah,
and
like
it's
why
good
not?
to hear that everybody is. I mean,
train hard, focus on doing a good run. Like I appreciate it.
Yeah,
like
you go to win, man.
This is your craft. Like do it. Like, and if you don't want to be there, don't be there. Like I feel like at least for this summer, like people feel this like almost unreal pressure. It's not really real that they like have to be there. It's like, yeah, but only if you like. It's only really helpful if you do well and present yourself properly and are stoked and motivate your friends and enjoy the crowd. If you're just gonna be negative and not ride how you want to ride because you're negative, and like it is just not a good look. So like, pick and choose what you want, and when you're not doing that, do what you do want.
Yeah.
And ideally, it's connected to wakeboarding if you want to do this as a career.
True that. What's the plans for the immediate future? So this spring, summer, what's in the docket? We got contests. You going to Europe again? We got video parts. What's it looking like?
Yeah, for sure. So right now, I'm in a little bit of a lull for probably like another week. Got a little heel bruise that I'm resting up, so gonna give that a little. Rode today with Hunter, and it still didn't feel quite good yet.
I mean, or you're riding behind me, and I was just fucking laying it down, and you're like,
actually,
dude,
yeah,
I cannot.
That was it right
be
there,
here
bud.
right
He's
now.
like, oh, I was just looking at him like, I can never do that.
Big Bad podcast host steps out of the booth and is, laying it down.
He even rode more than me there, bud, because my heel was hurting. I was being a little baby.
No. For the laps you're out there, it was looking good. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh, well, thanks.
I can't imagine when your heel's better. It's going to be a lot better.
Oh, well, thank you, good sir. But yeah, so rest that up. I'm back in person. Surprise. It's a Thursday and I'm not in school, but I'm back in person at school right now, believe it or not. I don't think we really touched on school, but yeah, back in school. So I've definitely had like a bit of a unique path with school. I've always been a big student. It was always really important to me. But as wakeboarding started to take off, it's been really hard to navigate both. So I've taken some, less full semesters. I've done full semesters, an extra coursework, summer courses. I actually did a research study with a 10-year professor on wakeboarding this past summer. So that was really neat. Trying to eventually get that in a journal, so that when people search up like academic peer-reviewed research studies, like mine would come up and there's something related to wakeboarding, because right now there's only one.
What's the one that's up there?
It's like women in wake and talking about like diversity
Okay.
and their lived experience. So I think it'd be really cool to, I don't know, just when people Google and if they want to quote something or have a research study where they can learn a little bit more about what's going on. And I think we did well at like doing a really non-biased approach and just stating the facts to what we could find. It's hard with wakeboarding where you can't find much. So we had to dig. But that, and then looking into the season. So gonna do a couple little wakeboard trips this year, planning the video, but taking a little bit of time off now. It's been a long year. So letting the body rest up for a couple of weeks here and then reevaluate. And then I'm working in March like nonstop. So I'm kind of my friends call me the king of the side hustles because, you know, to fund this lifestyle, it's not been easy. And I have about like 6 side hustles.
Are you drop shipping or something on the?
No,
Is that what you're that guy?
No, not like e-commerce.
Trading crypto or something?
Imagine. No, nothing like crazy. Just like little gigs. A lot of them connected to like marketing, sales, or like to the sports. So like one of mine ones that I love is snowboard judging. So I've been doing it for like 5 years, and I'm trying to progress in it, and it's going really well. And like I would love to take it to like X Games level and Olympics and stuff like that. I love judging. I think it's really neat. I think it's really fun. I just love watching these sports anyway, so I might as well. And as the Jason Petsnick and Dan Hughes, they like really pushed me into it because they saw how I thought about wakeboarding and snowboarding. And they were like, if you could think that into like judging, it'd be really cool. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've had lots of bad judging experiences. So to be in the booth and try to make an impact and change, because, you know, there's a change in snowboarding and wakeboarding right now, and it's hard to judge. It's a biased sport. So trying to bring some like structure to it. So yeah, I'm doing that for a lot of March, and then April, hopefully filming something. Hopefully. And then looking past that, we're kind of moving into some contests.
So you're gonna do Europe again? Is that kind of the plan?
Yes. But something we can talk about too, man, it is so frustrating. Like, I'm a planner. I like to have a plan. It can change. I'm adaptable, but I like to have a plan. And when we don't even have a full contest schedule right now.
We got a few, but we don't have everything,
No,
right?
it's frustrating. And like, even no, I love that the WWA is doing this Triple Crown, but like, I found out like a week ago when they posted it.
I think this one was a bit more last minute. But
And it's just like, it's just tricky. So I'm not going to be going to those because I'm booked up already. I already have work and plans, and I just don't want to change that to go to 3 events in Australia. I would love to. I would have definitely made it happen. It's just too late. But yeah, gonna pick and choose events. I'm not gonna maybe go as crazy as I did last year because I have some other goals right now with between coaching and filming projects, and I want to put a lot more emphasis into projects, but still hit as many, go to the contests that really make me tick. So like definitely trying to figure out if I can make Langenfeld work. Definitely going to Wake Duel. Haven't heard if I got the invite back this year, but hopefully going to Austria. Hopefully that comes in the mail soon. Because I'd love to go back there. Gonna go to Denmark. Where else? Trying to think of our competition. If I'm missing anything, I'll probably be there. But yeah, just trying to pick and choose what contests make sense this year. Last year, like, it was sick, but it was a lot. It was really expensive. So just trying to pick and choose and realizing that, you know, especially like sponsors too. Like I did last season because I really wanted to, and it was for me. But, you know, I even added some at the end because I was like, it looks really good to have a full, complete, really good season where you tried like really hard and focused on contests. But now I want to like, you know, have a percentage of contests and a big percentage, and I still want to be at the top of the crew. Still want to be, you know, fighting for podiums, and like I want to be hanging with the boys. But I also want to showcase how I can differentiate myself from the rest of the crew. I feel like I have a lot to offer more than just contests, like being a rider at a contest. I want to keep doing that, but I want to blend that into the rest of my life. And focus on a bunch of different pursuits.
All right. I like it.
And finish this stupid degree. It's not stupid. It's great. But
tell me how you really feel.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's just, it's been a hard navigation for sure. It's challenging.
Anybody you want to thank? I mean, you did a good job as a classic Canadian. I expected nothing less thanking people as the podcast was going on. But I mean, is there anybody you want to thank at the end of
Dude,
before we wrap it up?
Yeah, for sure. I want to start by saying the list is like enormous. I could thank everyone and their mom and their dog, but I can't do that right now. My brain's not braining. So if I miss you, I'm so sorry. Like for starters, my family, of course, they're like, they're the roots here. So like, from everyone I've mentioned already to, mom, dad, Tam, Sean, Bray, Sam, Mill, everyone that made free agent happen, everyone that helped me get here today, any sponsors I've had, literally, the Outhouse crew, the international boys and girls, like anybody that gave me advice, I took it to heart. I always have. If you tell me something, I'm going to try and take what I can from it. So if you've genuinely told something to me to try and better me, I appreciate it, and I thank you, and I probably can't name you all, but like, man, yeah, the list goes on and on. I thank you, Wakeboarding. Thank you for, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast. I was pumping your tires before, but I don't know if I actually said it on. But like, dude, this is incredible. Like, thank you for giving wakeboarding a platform that I truly believe is growing, and people can engage in wakeboard related content, and it's great to get more content out there, and I love what you're doing, and keep it up.
Thank you.
And thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
And yeah, thank you, wakeboarding. I feel like I shouldn't go like into more specific names, because if I do and I miss someone, I'm gonna be so sad.
I think you nailed it. I mean, you threw out a lot of names throughout the duration of the pod, so I think you covered it.
Yeah, but if I missed you, I love you. Okay, I do.
There you go, everybody. I mean, that's everybody right there. All 8 billion of you.
All 8 billion. Baby.
All right. So I want to thank all the Patreon members for making this podcast possible. Your guys' support is huge. Like I said earlier, I don't know if I mentioned, but the Patreon questions with Riley that we're about to film after this will drop on YouTube the Sunday after this episode comes out. So that'll be on YouTube for you guys to see. But thanks everyone for tuning in. See you guys next time.
And really quickly.
Oh, what do we got?
Really quickly. Subscribe to Patreon.
Oh, subscribe to Patreon and like, comment, subscribe on the video too. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on YouTube as well.
Yeah, I guess
Riley, for that.
Yeah, plans for the future. Working for Hunter apparently.
There you go. Love it. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in.
See you guys. Thank you.